Chapter 4191. Next, Lin Yuan and Qin Xiener found another empty space and sat down cross-legged, beginning to cultivate and absorb the power in front of them. As for the others, they were unable to calm down. These people also began to cultivate, but they were all very far away from Lin Xian, and did not dare to provoke him. At this moment, someone walked over. His footsteps were very steady, and there were great paths intertwining under his feet. When Lin Xian saw this, a sharp light bloomed in his eyes. Was someone going to attack again? Seeing that Lin Xian's aura gradually became cold, the figure also said, "Brother, don't worry, I'm not attacking you. I see that you're very strong, and I want to be friends with you." Hearing this, Lin Xian was also stunned, but he realized that there was indeed no killing intent from the other party. He nodded. "You're too polite. My name is Guan Songhai, and am a member of Songhai Palace. I wonder what kind of physique brother's physique is. It's actually so strong. I'm cultivating randomly, and I've consumed some heavenly treasures in the past." Lin Xian smiled. He could not reveal his identity now, so he continued to use the identity of Sword Fanatic. "You can call me Sword Fanatic." Guan Kanghai's eyes flickered. Sword Fanatic. He recalled carefully and realized that he had never heard of this name. He asked, "I don't know which force you're from." "I'm from the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, and am the son-in-law of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan." Guan Songhai was speechless after hearing this. The son-in-law of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan? Are you kidding me? The geniuses of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan are about to be killed by you. And you still dare to return to the Nine-Tailed Fox clan? However, he also knew that it was normal for the other party to hide something when meeting for the first time. Therefore, he did not ask further. Instead, he said, "Sword Fanatic, I wonder if you're interested in what's ahead? If there's a chance, we can work together." It seemed that the other party was about to make a move. Lin Xian sensed for a while, and his eyes flickered. He said, "This matter has to wait and I'll study it. If I really want to go, I'll definitely work together with you. Then I won't disturb you. Guan Songhai, am leaving." The next few days were very peaceful. These people advanced in an orderly manner, and then sat, and began to absorb and refine the power. After a while, someone finally couldn't take it anymore. This time, the one who stood up was a tall man who looked like a giant. He said coldly, "Everyone, could it be that you all wanted to absorb the energy outside? Although the power here wasn't bad, it couldn't be compared to the power inside. Why don't we work together and fight our way in?" Perhaps there was still a chance. After the others heard this, some of them stood up and said that they had to fight for their own opportunities. Otherwise, they would have no chance at all. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the tall man leading the group. This person's physique was very strong. He was much stronger than the ancient barbaric bull he had encountered before. He didn't know which force it was. At this moment, Guan Songhai walked over and said, "Brother Sword Maniac, what do you think?" Alright, they could give it a try. Then, the three of them prepared to set off. As for the others, some chose to join in, while some chose to watch from the sidelines. From the looks of it, they wanted to take advantage of the situation. There were even some experts hiding among them. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Those experts would definitely make a move when they saw that there was profit to be made. As for those who wanted to sit back and reap the benefits, that would depend on whether they had the strength to do so. Buzz. The man in the lead strode forward. He really looked like a Kwafu giant. He crossed countless mountains with one step. Behind him, Guan Songhai looked at the figure and said, "He's from the giant spiritual mansion. His name is Pang Mo. He's also a close combat power type. Brother, if you have the chance, you can spar with him." Giant spiritual mansion? Lin Xian was surprised. This person's physique was indeed very strong. He probably had a special bloodline. While they were talking, these people had already reached the front. Then they felt the violent impact of the storm, as if it was going to tear their bodies apart. Those people propped up their saint domains one after another, and roared at the front. They tore the storm apart with a palm and strode in. He didn't need to use his saint domain at all. He didn't even need to use his laws. Just the strength of his physique was enough. The others couldn't do it at all. However, those who could come here were all experts. Physique wasn't their strong point, but their laws were indeed terrifying. One after another, nomological abilities allowed them to withstand this terrifying storm of power. Endless water gushed out from Guan Kanghai's body and wrapped him up. The power hit the water and caused ripples, but it couldn't hurt him at all. On Qin Xianer's side, the joyous Union Bell formed a sound wave armor. Lin Xian didn't use any defense either. His nine-yang divine body wasn't inferior to anything. The three of them were also in the group, striding forward. Buzz. The mountain range ahead trembled again, and a black shadow appeared. Everyone stopped in their tracks. Their scalps were numb. After all, the black palm from before was able to seal the weapon of a Saint King. Its strength was heaven-defying. Now that it appeared again, it made everyone feel terrified. The huge black palm didn't attack them. It just stood there like a demonic mountain. There were countless black runes pressing down from above. These runes covered the sky and covered the earth like raindrops. Although it looked small, it was said that the strength it carried was terrifying. It could easily pierce through a small saint. We might be separated later. Be careful. Lin Xian transmitted his voice to Qin Xianer. Qin Xianer nodded. Don't worry. Indeed, although he wasn't as strong as Lin Xian, he was still a top-notch genius. Previously, he was surrounded by so many powerful saints, but he wasn't injured. It wouldn't be easy to injure him. Charge! Pang Emo, who was in front, roared. He opened the sky with both hands, forming a huge axe and slashing it down. The surrounding people also moved. At the same time, many figures streaked across the void behind them. Their auras were also extremely powerful. Obviously, these people couldn't hold back and wanted to attack. Buzz. Buzz. Countless black runes covered the sky like worms. Many of them swept towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's body was covered in flames. He pushed out his palm and sent those black runes flying. On the other side, Guan Songhai formed a wave vortex. Those who entered were all sucked in and couldn't come out. Qin Xianer kept dodging. She was good at illusions, but those runes didn't have souls. Therefore, her illusions were useless. However, she had a lot of trump cards in her hand. She took out an umbrella and spun it, blocking the runes that filled the sky. The three of them moved forward quickly. However, there were more and more black runes in front of them. Even those runes were quickly interweaving, forming one large black hand after another that pounced over. Then the situation changed. Some people were sent flying, and some were directly killed. All kinds of roars and roars were heard. Lin Xian even had a black hand pouncing on him. Chapter 4192. Boom. Lin Xian didn't dodge. Instead, he reached out his palm and blocked the attack. With a boom, he was pushed back and felt his arm go numb. However, the palm formed by the black runes also slowly disappeared. Lin Xian didn't care at first, but when he saw the people around him attacking crazily and the black runes being scattered and reformed, he was stunned. He remembered that after he attacked, they disappeared directly, and the others couldn't make them disappear. What was going on? Lin Xian knew that this wasn't because of the great dragon sword soul. Because he realized that when Pang Emo attacked, he could also make the black runes disappear. However, Guan Songhai couldn't, and even Qin Xianer couldn't. He thought about it and instantly understood. He said, "This thing can only be attacked with strength, so it's probably immune to the law of divine powers. Don't use that kind of divine powers again." Qin Xianer was shocked when she heard that. Guan Songhai was also shocked. In the next moment, he reached out a blue palm and slapped forward. Although he was pushed back, he realized that some of the runes were destroyed. Sword Maniac, your observation skills are really terrifying. Guan Songhai was shocked. Qin Xianer smiled bitterly. I'm not good at this kind of close combat. Don't worry, follow me. Lin Xian attacked quickly. He led the way while Qin Xianer followed behind. Guan Songhai also smiled. Then I won't hold back. He also followed. Lin Xian was extremely powerful. At this moment, he attacked with all his strength and his speed was shocking. The various palms and fists formed by the black runes were all blasted away by him. He was simply advancing courageously. Soon, he shook off those people and even surpassed the side demon. Seeing this, the side demon was also stunned. How was it possible? How could anyone be faster than him? He looked over. When he saw Lin Xian and the other two, He snorted in his heart. It turned out that they were relying on their advantage in numbers. It was nothing. He was still the best in one-on-one combat. The others also realized this and changed their strategy. Although most of them knew how to deal with it, they still couldn't pass. After all, not everyone's physique was as strong as this. Therefore, only a small number of people were able to advance. Most people could only retreat helplessly. Some people had even given up because they felt that it was too dangerous to stay here any longer. Buzz. Lin Xian's speed was very fast. Finally, he was the first to reach the front. There was a valley there. The top of the valley was covered in black chains. The black runes on the chains made people feel extremely shocked. Thinking about it, it should be in this valley. They didn't rush forward rashly. Not long after, more people came from behind. The side demon was the second to arrive. When he arrived, he saw Lin Xian and the other two. Suddenly, he snorted coldly with a trace of hostility in his eyes. After all, he was overtaken by others, which made him feel very unhappy. Following that, another 5 figures fell. Without exception, these people were all close combat types with strong physiques. As for the others, it was likely that they would not be able to come here. Of course, there were exceptions. For example, Qin Xianer and Guan Songhai were not close combat strength type. However, with Lin Xian leading the way, they could still come. The 9 of them stood outside the valley and looked around curiously. However, they didn't act rashly. At the same time, the void fluctuated, causing everyone to be stunned. This was because they discovered that in another direction of the valley, another person had appeared. These people's figures were abnormally hazy. It was impossible to see who they were. Could it be that they weren't in the same space? Guan Songhai frowned. Lin Xian was also surprised. He activated his heavenly secret god eyes and found that through his eye technique, he could see that the space had folded a lot. Obviously, these people were indeed not in the same space. However, everyone only had one goal, and that was the valley in front of them. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian walked forward. At this moment, a cold snort was heard. Then the ground cracked open and a force swept towards him. Lin Xian's expression changed. He stomped his foot and shattered the force. The next moment he turned his head. The side demon walked over and said coldly, "Who allowed you to enter? Why, are you trying to stop me?" Lin Xian's expression was cold. "Humph, don't think that you can be the first to enter just because you came first. You're just relying on the advantage of numbers. Otherwise, how could you have arrived before me?" The side demon's voice was loud and clear. He said, "Oh, go first. You all wait outside." Hearing this, Qin Xianer and the others' expressions changed. Lin Xian also laughed. "How domineering. You think you can go first because you're the strongest? Unfortunately, you're the second to come. If you want to enter, line up behind me. If you dare to provoke me again, I'll make sure you won't be able to enter for the rest of your life. Kid, do you think you can be so arrogant because you have the advantage of numbers?" The side demon sneered and waved his hand. Behind him, another 2 people stood out. These 2 people had extraordinary physiques. One of them was fiery red and had a terrifying temperature. The other was like a walking beast. The appearance of these 2 people caused the pressure in the area to multiply. "Do you think I don't have any helpers? 3 against 3. You're no match for me. If you don't want to die, hurry up and get lost." Hearing this, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Beside him, Guan Songhai and Qin Xianer also frowned. Were they going to fight? However, they weren't afraid. Previously, because of the Black Palm, they were immune to the law of mystic powers. That was why they couldn't use their skills. However, these 3 people were different. So what if their physiques were strong? Seems like you really want to fight. Alright, I'll give you a chance to fight one-on-one. Lin Xian looked ahead and said indifferently. He saw that the other party's physique wasn't bad. It was worth it for him to fight. Even now, you still dare to be arrogant. You really don't know what's good for you. Bienemo also laughed coldly. A cold glint surfaced in his eyes. Would he be afraid of a one-on-one fight? Behind him, the other 2 revealed a sinister smile. Since Big Brother wants to fight one-on-one, we'll play with him. As he spoke, the fiery red man stared at Guan Songhai while the other demonic beast stared at Qin Xianer. She's a fairy. However, I won't hold back. Instantly, the demonic beast stretched out a huge palm and slapped towards the front. Qin Xian'er sneered. How dare the other party look down on her? In the next moment, her body swayed and the sound wave attack rushed out. With a boom, the demonic beast's body shook and his face turned sinister. Damn it, a soul attack? Roar. He roared and his terrifying blood chi vibrated to resist the sound wave attack. However, it was useless. He had underestimated Qin Xian'er. Qin Xian'er had the talent of 7 tails. In addition, she was a top genius of the Joyous Union Palace. She had too many illusions in her hands. After a few moves, the demonic beast roared crazily. It seemed like his soul was severely injured. Damn it, how did this happen? He was going crazy. Originally, he thought that he could dominate the world with his physique. Chapter 4193. Was it countered? The fiery red man's expression changed. He stretched out a finger, which looked like a pillar of light that reached the heavens. The law of fire on it instantly shattered everything. Your opponent is me. Guan Songhai sneered. With a wave of his hand, a terrifying wave swept across heaven and earth. It enveloped the fiery palm. Then, 2 completely opposite laws clashed, and a terrifying white mist filled the surroundings. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian nodded. It seemed like he didn't need to worry about these 2 battles. He turned his head and stared at BNMO Thief. It seems like your 2 brothers aren't that strong. I wonder if your strength is enough for you to continue being arrogant? BNMO also frowned. He didn't expect his 2 brothers to be in trouble. So what? He had to deal with this brat first to reverse the situation. Since you don't know the difference between life and death, I'll fulfill your wish. BNMO's face turned gloomy. In the next moment he punched out, and a terrifying force shook the surroundings. The surrounding people frantically retreated. It was too frightening. As expected of someone from the giant spirit mansion, each of his moves contained boundless power. Very few people could compete with him in terms of physique. This BNMO was indeed extraordinary. His cultivation base was at the peak of minor saint, but his physique had long surpassed the peak. He was only 1 step away from the saint realm. It would be very difficult to break through his defense using ordinary methods. But unfortunately he met Lin Xian. Lin Xian's physique was even more terrifying. Endless golden radiance shone on his body. At this moment, a golden fist was pushed out. The 2 collided in the void. With a loud boom, heaven and earth cracked. What? He actually blocked it? He actually blocked BNMO's attack? It's really unbelievable. What kind of physique does this brat have? I remember that he arrived earlier than BNMO. I thought it was because he had the advantage in numbers, but now it seems that wasn't the case. Those people roared crazily. They were also experts in body refinement. But now compared to these 2, they were pitifully weak. He blocked it. BNMO was also stunned. This was different from what he had expected. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Not bad, your attack is stronger than I expected." Again? As he spoke, he kept swinging his fists. His arms trembled, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, the side demon's eyes instantly turned red. He had never been suppressed in terms of physique before. The giant spirit palm struck out with both palms, like 2 demonic mountains that could push horizontally. Lin Xian punched out again, as if they had turned into 2 fire cheilants, roaring between heaven and earth. The 2 collided, and the sound of the collision made one's ears bleed. The entire heaven and earth shook violently as a figure flew out. The side demon was in an extremely sorry state. He crushed the ground, his arms hanging down directly broken. This was really too unbelievable. His opponent's strength was so strong that it was hard for him to believe. How could this be? Big Brother was actually injured? The 2 people who were fighting were also stunned. Their expressions turned to horror. Soon they were also forced back. They didn't attack again because this scene was too shocking. Big Brother, why did you rush over for no reason? Guan Songhai sucked in a breath of cold air. Qin Xian'er only smiled. It seemed like she didn't need to worry. The side demon's expression was incomparably ugly. He roared angrily, and the power of the laws on his body healed his broken arms. However, his expression became even more gloomy. Who are you? What physique did you cultivate? The side demon said coldly. Lin Xian smiled. If you beat me, I'll tell you. Arrogant guy, I'll let you see my physique. Giant spirit body. The side demon roared, and mysterious Dao patterns appeared on his body. His body continued to grow until he turned into a huge mountain. The giant spirit body was a peerless divine ability. Once cultivated, one's body would be huge, and their strength would be boundless. It could be said that its power was unparalleled. At this moment, when it was used by the side demon, it was even more terrifying. Brat, you're dead. My big brother can kill you with one slap. The man whose body was like fire sneered. The others also swallowed their saliva. Indeed, they could feel that the side demon's power had become stronger than before. Oh, did he think of an ultimate technique? The golden radiance on Lin Xian's body became even more piercingly cold. The power of the divine body also gradually erupted, causing the eyes of the surrounding people to hurt. What kind of radiance was that? Damn it! What kind of physique was this? How could it be so strong? The side demon roared. After using his spirit body, he was full of confidence. However, when he felt the change in the other party's aura, his expression turned to one of horror. How was that possible? He subconsciously took a step back, which already showed that he was afraid in his heart. But soon he gritted his teeth and roared. Impossible, he was extremely confident in his spirit body. Giant spirit axe. He raised his arm, turned it into an axe, and descended from the sky. This attack could open up a world. So strong, this guy is really too terrifying. Qin Xianer couldn't help but praise. The side demon was indeed very strong. Lin Xian's eyes burst with an extremely cold light. He threw out another punch. This time, he didn't use any divine ability. It was just the power of his body. However, he had already used his body with all his strength. The power of this punch was more terrifying than any divine ability. It was like a sun that illuminated the 9 heavens and 10 earth. An earth-shattering sound rang out, and the giant axe that split the sky was instantly shattered. The side demon was also sent flying, crashing into hundreds of mountains. Other than the valley in front, the surrounding sky and earth were constantly shattered. The surrounding people who were watching the battle couldn't even stand steadily. At this moment, they were so scared that they almost knelt on the ground. The side demon's 2 lackeys didn't dare to say anything. They turned around and ran. If they stayed any longer, they would probably be blown apart by the other party's punch. At the side, Guan Songhai sucked in a breath of cold air when he saw this scene. This was probably the strongest physique he had ever seen. He really didn't know what kind of physique the other party had. This golden radiance reminded him of a possibility. Who else wants to challenge me? Lin Xian looked around, and the others quickly shook their heads. Even Pang Mo was sent flying with a punch, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. The others didn't dare to provoke him anymore. Very good. Lin Xian turned around and said to Qin Xianer and Guan Songhai, "Go in." With that, he walked towards the valley in front. However, when he got close, he stopped, because he felt a fatal danger pressing down on him from the void. Who dared to make a move against him? His gaze was like a knife looking in all directions. However, he found that those people looked scared, and it was impossible for them to make a move. Then who was it? He frowned. Was there someone hiding in the void? However, in the next moment he was stunned. He found that there was indeed someone who was showing a strong fighting spirit towards him. Chapter 4194. Previously, when he arrived, he found that other than where he was, there were also hazy figures in the other 3 spaces. Later, he found out that this was caused by space folding, and he couldn't see through them. However, at this moment, there was an illusory figure in one of the spaces that was displaying a strong fighting spirit towards him. What was going on? Could he attack? Could he still do it through so many spaces? He really felt that it was too unbelievable. Could it be that he had activated his divine body to the extreme just now, and the people in the other spaces had also sensed it? In the space on the left, there were also 8 figures. One of them was standing there with his hands behind his back facing everyone. There was a strange rune between his eyebrows. If there were others here, they would definitely recognize him. This person was Chao Tiansheng from the Limitless sect. They didn't expect him to be able to come to this mysterious space world. Near Chao Tiansheng, There were also 7 figures with solemn expressions. Without exception, they were all top experts. If these people were outside, they would definitely be on the sage rankings. Some were even stronger than those on the sage rankings. They were all sizing up the valley in front of them. Suddenly, they felt the space fluctuate. Countless cracks appeared around them. In those cracks, there was a golden light shining, like the light of the sun. It was unusually bright. What was going on? These people were shocked. Was there a change in the valley? No. Someone was attacking. Who was it? Was it from the other spaces? They could also see the hazy figures in the other spaces, but they didn't know who they were. They didn't know. At this moment, the people in the other spaces were fighting, and the power was transmitted here. It was really unbelievable. Qiao Tianqing was also stunned. In the next moment, a cold light burst out from his eyes, directly shattering the void. There was an extremely strong fighting spirit in his eyes. At the same time, in the space on the right, there were also 9 figures standing. One of them was Wan Jiani. Cracks appeared around them, and there was also a golden light sprinkling down. Was someone fighting? It could actually cause such a change. How terrifying. Everyone was discussing, and even Wan Jiani frowned. He didn't think too much, because he felt that he could also cause such a scene. In the space directly in front of them, there were 7 figures standing there, and one of them was abnormally hazy. Even the people in this space couldn't see through him. Everyone knew that this was a spatial powerhouse. Suddenly, the void around them shattered, and there was a golden light sprinkling down. As the others discussed, Gu Feng suddenly frowned. Why did this golden aura feel so familiar? Could it be him? Impossible, he's already dead. In the next moment, the law of space on his body became incomparably terrifying. It was as if his entire body was about to travel through time and space. Lin Xian felt a strong sense of danger after feeling the desire to fight. The void in front of them was constantly shattering. Could it be that someone was going to cross over? Lin Xian frowned. Spatial divine ability? Damn it, it can't be that guy, right? He instantly thought of a person. If it was really the other party, then it would be bad. He couldn't let her come here. The next moment he took out the white fox drum and hit it hard. The white fox drum emitted an extremely terrifying sound wave. The 2 sound waves combined and shot towards the shattered space. In the next moment, a muffled groan came from within, and the shattered space slowly disappeared. Gu Feng retreated with a pale face. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. What a strong power. It even had an extremely terrifying soul attack. Damn it, this space has been modified by someone. I can't completely travel through it. Indeed, although he was an expert of the space attribute, and was very powerful, this place was too strange. That black palm had the power to reverse the universe. It was too mysterious. His spatial force was greatly suppressed in this place, otherwise he would not have been able to use it. He would have already traveled through it. However, the other party actually dared to injure him. A trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes. You'd better not let me know who you are. Otherwise, it'll make you regret being born into this world. Seeing that the shattered space did not reappear, Lin Xian also heaved a sigh of relief. However, he still felt a desire to fight. This desire to fight was extremely terrifying. It passed through the void and surged towards him. It shouldn't be Gu Feng, but another person. Who was it? Who was it that was so strong? To be able to lock onto him clearly. In the next moment, Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He said, retreat. Qin Xiener and Guan Songhai were stunned. However, their expressions quickly changed, and they quickly retreated, because they felt an extremely terrifying power coming from the void on their left. Suddenly, a blurry palm slapped toward him. What was this? Qin Xiener screamed. Was someone fighting across space? Who actually had such a method? Lin Xian roared angrily. Light erupted from his body as he also punched over. The 2 collided. A terrifying explosion sounded. It was even more terrifying than before. The surrounding people all retreated, trembling. In the distance, Bien Mo recovered his body. He wanted to come over to take revenge, but when he saw this scene, he almost fainted from fright. Let's go. He no longer dared to mention the matter of revenge. With such power, he was simply unable to resist. After that attack, Lin Xian felt his arm go numb. Although that palm was hazy and light, it made him feel extremely threatened. He didn't have time to think about who it was. Suddenly, the hazy palm quickly formed a series of hand seals, forming over 1,000 hand seals in a row. Each one was different. These palms erupted together. The power was overwhelming. When Guan Songhai saw this scene, he was simply stunned. Who was it? This nomological ability was too heaven-defying. Was there really someone in the younger generation who could do this? Could it be the legendary 1,000-hand seal? Wasn't that lost? Someone screamed from behind. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He hugged his arms and the Taiji diagram formed was sent out by him. It clashed with the 1,000 hands imprint. Terrifying power clashed, and terrifying divine powers clashed. Then, the two dissipated at the same time. Even the Taiji diagram disappeared. This person was so strong. Lin Xian was shocked. The Taiji diagram had always been successful, but now it was actually scattered by someone. It was too unbelievable. The legendary 1,000-hand seal? He was shocked. At this moment, the palm formed seals again. Countless nomological laws flew out from the seal, forming a small cauldron that kept bobbing up and down. It was completely formed by the interweaving of great Tao. It was abnormally terrifying. And the small cauldron spat out countless sword beams that began to sweep through the 9 heavens. The cauldron of heaven and earth was also a lost divine ability. Damn it, who was it? The man at the back roared again. Chapter 4195. It was another lost mystical power. Lin Xian was shocked. He felt that it was too unbelievable. Who was this person? Why did he have so many lost mystical powers? However, when he felt the sword chi there, he snorted coldly. In the next moment, he also burst out with endless sword chi and slashed forward. It collided with the small cauldron. 100,000 streaks of sword chi erupted. This power was truly too terrifying. This continued for a long time before the 2 sword chis slowly disappeared from the world. Lin Xian looked solemn, but he realized that the other party did not attack again. The mysterious hand disappeared. At the same time, in the space on the left, Chao Tianxing retracted his palm and smiled. The people behind him were dumbfounded. Damn it, what did this guy do just now? Could it be that he attacked from a distance? No way, this guy was actually such a terrifying person. Previously, these people did not take Chao Tianxing seriously. In their opinion, the strength of both parties was about the same. Perhaps they were stronger, but now they realized that they were wrong. The person in front of them was incomparably mysterious. At least, they could not fight from a distance. He should not attack again. Let's go in. Lin Xian waited for a while, and realized that there were no more attacks, so he walked in. After he entered the valley, Qin Xianer, Guan Songhai, and the others also went in. The rest of the people also followed in. After entering, they exclaimed in surprise. They realized that there was a huge cauldron in the valley. It was completely made of bones and was abnormally strange and mysterious. There was red water inside. Lin Xian took a look and realized that it was blood. Moreover, it was blood that contained extremely terrifying power. Seeing this scene, everyone's eyes were burning. It was obvious that it was extremely beneficial to the physique. It might even increase one's cultivation. Seeing this scene, their eyes turned red. Of course, they did not dare to act rashly. After all, they did not dare to go against Lin Xian. After seeing it, he was also surprised. He put a hand in. He immediately sensed a whistling sound approaching him. Could it be related to the tiger tribe? Lin Xian was surprised. Go in. As he spoke, his figure flickered, and he directly jumped in. This cauldron was extremely large, enough to hold over 1,000 people. Therefore, when Lin Xian and the others entered, it seemed very spacious. Next, they let their bodies submerge into the energy. He began to crazily absorb the energy. However, the energy contained within was beyond their imagination. Everyone was originally very excited, but a day later, a few people flew out. No, I can't take it anymore. Their bodies split apart. There were even tiger roars coming from within their bodies. It was obvious that they were unable to absorb any more. Damn it! They had only been absorbing for a day, yet their expressions were already filled with unwillingness. But when someone tried to go back, his body broke open. The rest of the people below didn't dare to come any closer. Since he couldn't cultivate it, he would just put it away and cultivate it in the future. Someone took out a pagoda, intending to collect the energy within. However, he discovered that the black runes had directly shattered the pagoda. There was no way to collect them, so he could only cultivate here. Forget it, I'd better heal my body first. These people shook their heads and sighed. Although they could only cultivate for a day, it was already a great opportunity for them. There were still 4 figures left inside. Other than Lin Xian and the other 2, there was still one more figure. This person was the man who had recognized the thousand-hand seal. It seemed that his identity was not ordinary, as he could actually last for more than a day. However, he came out on the 3rd day because he couldn't take it anymore. On the 4th day, Qin Xianer came out. After coming out, he was overjoyed because he discovered that after his 7th tail, there were actually 8 more. His bloodline had become stronger again. This was really unbelievable. Not long after, Guan Songhai also came out. His physique had also become stronger. Even his bloodline was stronger than before, which made him happy. Sword Fanatic hadn't come out yet? He turned around and saw that Lin Xian was still inside. The others were also paying attention, wondering how long this guy could stay. I guess it'll be at least 5 days. More than that, I guess he might stay for 10 days. These people were discussing. After all, Lin Xian's physique was so strong that it shocked them. However, after 10 days, they found that he didn't show any signs of coming out. After waiting for another 10 days, these people were about to collapse. It had already been 20 days. Was this guy still human? Forget it, let's go. These people sighed. They had seen it once and found that it was impossible to go in again. It was useless to stay here, so these people left. Only Qin Xianer and Guan Songhai were left. What do you plan to do? Guan Songhai asked. Qin Xianer said, "Oh, wait for him." Alright, then I'll take my leave first. When Sword Fanatic wakes up, you can tell him this. Thank him very much. If he needs anything in the future, just ask. When I look at Songhai, I definitely won't even frown. Qin Xianer nodded. He also smiled and said, "Don't worry, I think he'll be happy to be friends with you." Guan Songhai also left, leaving only Qin Xianer and Lin Xian. Qin Xianer was here to consolidate the bloodline she had obtained. She could even cultivate the inheritance. In the valley, Qin Xianer began to cultivate. On the other side, Lin Xian was crazily absorbing the power inside. A month later, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He felt that his physique had reached the level of a sacred master. His soul had also reached the level. The only thing he lacked now was his cultivation. Next, Lin Xian was summoned. The Great Dragon Sword Soul began to let him absorb the power. The improvement of the Great Dragon Sword Soul was much more than what he needed. Mount Lei Ji was a good example. Now that Lin Xian took it out again, the surrounding energy decreased at an extremely fast speed. There was even a whistling sound that shook heaven and earth. In the valley, Qin Xianer was alarmed. What happened? He wanted to go forward, but he found that the sound wave had exceeded the endurance of his soul. He was forced to leave the valley. At the same time, the whistling sound reached the 9 heavens. The black palm also began to tremble. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he cried out in his heart. Oh no! He hurriedly put away the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Damn, don't alarm that black palm. The black palm came over and probed around. When it found that the whistling sound had disappeared, it floated back. Lin Xian felt a lingering fear. Forget it, he didn't summon the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Instead, he searched for other opportunities. Now that his body had reached a limit, he didn't absorb any more power. However, when he came to the edge, he found something shocking. Chapter 4196. This skill was called the Tiger Demon Fist, and it was extremely powerful. There were a total of 7 moves. Lin Xian memorized these 7 moves. Then he started practicing in the valley. After a few days, Lin Xian and Qin Xianer left. They set off again because they felt that there should be other opportunities. Gradually, they realized that many people had been eliminated, and those who survived were flying in one direction. There was a stairway to heaven, and one had to climb it to cross this space and enter other places. When Lin Xian arrived, He realized that Guan Songhai and the others were there as well. There were even some people that he had never seen before. Some of them had extremely powerful auras, and they were even more terrifying than Pang Mo's seventh sister. You're here. A voice was heard. Qin Xianer turned her head and looked over. Then she revealed a look of surprise. Lin Xian, who was beside him, also looked over. He realized that it was the ninth prince. The ninth prince's aura was much stronger than before. Moreover, there was an eighth tail behind his back. It seemed that the ninth prince had also obtained a great opportunity. There were some princes and princesses beside him, and their auras had also become stronger. They looked around and didn't see the first prince and the others. They were also shocked. Where was that guy? It seemed that they didn't know that the first prince and the others had been killed. At this moment, the voice of the envoy of Green Hill was heard. All right, it's time for the final test. If you pass, there will be great opportunities waiting for you. After saying that, lightning bolts fell from the sky one after another, striking the people around them. If they couldn't, they would either be killed or fail. A terrifying sound was heard, and the people around him could only scream. The power of the lightning bolts was too terrifying, and some people were instantly pierced through. Some of them were badly mutilated, and some even ran away. I admit defeat. Those who admitted defeat were directly sent out. However, the top experts roared and tried to defend themselves. The law of thunder appeared on Lin Xian's body, and it turned into lightning swords. They slashed in all directions. The thunder that approached him was completely destroyed. Qin Xianer shook the joyous union bell to defend herself, forming an infrasound defense. On the other side, Guan Songhai displayed his Songhai physique. The phantom of a nine-tailed fox appeared on the ninth prince's body and roared at the sky. When the endless thunder ended, there were only 23 people left in the arena. The rest of the people had either admitted defeat or been killed. That's great, we finally made it through. All 23 of them smiled. They didn't have time to recover from their injuries as they strode up the stairway. However, after ascending the stairway, the voice of the Green Hill messenger was heard again. The stairway to heaven can only carry 9 people. You can decide on your own. What? 9 people? When the 23 of them heard this, they were stunned. D***, how did this happen? Originally, they thought that by blocking Lei, they had won the final victory. Who would have thought that more than half of the 23 people would be eliminated? In the end, only 9 people were able to successfully leave. They all knew the temper of the Qingqiu emissary, so they didn't dare to ask. Otherwise, the consequences would be dire. Therefore, these people knew that a great battle would break out among them. Among them, a man with silver lightning revolving around his body shouted angrily, "Those who are weak, get lost. Otherwise, don't blame me for attacking." For a moment, some people were shocked. 3 of them felt that they weren't strong enough. Then they took the initiative to walk down. However, there were still 20 people left. More than half of them had to be eliminated. Why? Is no one going down? The lightning man sneered. Then don't blame me for not being polite. He shouted angrily and roared at the sky, letting out an extremely terrifying roar. The lightning on his body surged in all directions. 5 lightning sword realm. The silver lightning formed a space of thunder and lightning and struck down directly. Although the range wasn't as powerful as the previous lightning tribulation, the attack seemed to be more terrifying than the previous one. Immediately, another 3 people vomited blood and were sent flying. The others tried to block it. At this moment, the ninth prince also laughed sinisterly. "I'll help too." He let out a whistling sound and his 8 tails danced in all directions. Another person attacked. There was a black sun floating above his head. It was extremely strange. The 3 of them worked together and finally defeated another 7 people. At this moment, there were only 10 people left standing on the stairway. The fact that these 10 people could hold on was enough to show their strength. However, there was still one person who had to be eliminated. Who would it be? No one would be willing to accept it. These people were hostile to each other. Bienemo was also here. His tall body carried an extremely strong power. When he looked at Lin Xian, his scalp went numb and he automatically ignored him. He didn't dare to attack Lin Xian. The ninth prince also swept his gaze across. He found that the others either had extraordinary bloodlines or were very strong. If he attacked, there would probably be a shocking battle. Therefore, his gaze finally fell on Lin Xian. Although he had seen Lin Xian fight before, Lin Xian could only defeat Hung Tu Tian. He didn't take him seriously. It was already very difficult for him to hold on until now. He guessed that the only person who had to go down was this human. Therefore he said, "Sword maniac, go down yourself. Don't make me do it." Hearing this, the others were stunned. Then they all looked at Lin Xian. Some people snorted with arrogance in their eyes. Some people smiled. It seemed that there would be a good show to watch. However, Bien Mo's pupils constricted. The ninth prince dared to provoke this demon king? It seemed that he didn't know what was good for him. Qin Xianer's expression also changed. "Old Nine, what do you mean?" "Seventh sister, my meaning is very clear. Everyone here is a top powerhouse. If I have to find someone to go down, it's only this kid. I know that your relationship is not ordinary, but at this time, I can't protect him. I'm already being lenient by letting him leave safely. If he doesn't come to his senses, then don't blame me for attacking." At this moment, the voice of the Qingqiu emissary came from the sky again. "What, you haven't decided yet?" It was obvious that the other party couldn't wait any longer. Hearing this, the others' expressions changed. The ninth prince also walked out. "There's no time, sword maniac. Do you want to go down obediently, or do you want me to fight for you? If I attack, I won't show you any mercy." The ninth prince's voice was unusually sharp. Killing intent spread out from his body, causing the world to collapse quickly. Chapter 4197. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. "Ninth prince, it seems like you're really looking for death. To be honest, I didn't plan to attack you. After all, Xiener is also from the nine-tailed tribe. I think it's good to leave 2 spots for the nine-tailed tribe. But you don't know what's good for you. Since that's the case, I'm sorry. You can go down now." "What did you say? You want me to go down?" The ninth prince was stunned. Then he laughed. "Kid, you don't think that you have the right to challenge me just because you defeated Hong Tu Tian, do you? Well, since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me." The ninth prince's expression was cold. He waved his hand, and a cold green flame flew out. There was a terrifying law flowing on it. It was a simple attack, but he displayed a strong power. He was indeed a genius with 8 tails. Interesting. I wonder how this kid is going to block it. The others were watching the show. The other demons shook their heads and showed a sympathetic expression. Lin Xian's eyes also shone with a cold light. "Are you sure you want to fight me?" Looking at this scene, endless thunderbolts appeared on his palm and turned into a ferocious tiger that pounced forward. It collided with the green flame. "Show me your true strength. Let me see what right you have to make me go down," Lin Xian said indifferently. Now that his strength had increased, he didn't put the ninth prince in his eyes. "You don't know what's good for you. It was just a casual attack." The ninth prince sneered. He had 7 tails before, and now he had 1 more bloodline. He was stronger than before. How could his opponent be his opponent? Thinking of this, he formed a seal with his palm. The green flame on his body quickly swept forward. Fire Fox Seal. The flaming fox flew out. It had green nomological laws on it, and a burning power was pulsating. Lin Xian didn't care. He punched out, and endless thunder intertwined again, forming a fierce tiger. A claw slammed down. With a boom, the firefox was shattered. Even the pupils of the surrounding people shrank. When they thought about it, they felt that the black palm was coming again. No, the power was different. Why did this kid have a strange feeling? How could this be? The ninth prince was taken aback. His firefox had actually been easily shattered by the other party. Damn it! What was the other party using? At this moment, Lin Xian made his move again. His fist was like a bolt of lightning as it lashed out. The tiger demon fist emitted a terrifying whistling sound that caused one's soul to return to normal. Damn it! The ninth prince was enraged. His opponent actually dared to take the initiative to attack him. He was truly courting death. He formed a seal with his palm and struck out again. The two of them collided. The ninth prince was forced back. His arm was numb, and the surrounding people were astonished. To be honest, they had thought highly of the ninth prince, but the situation had exceeded their expectations. The expressions of the princes and princesses of the Nine-Tail tribe below turned extremely ugly when they saw this scene. They had been defeated, but they didn't leave. Seeing this scene, they were all stunned. Was this human really that strong? The side demon's expression was one of terror. He had just exchanged blows with Lin Xian, and naturally knew how terrifying Lin Xian was. Therefore, he sympathized with the ninth prince. You want to take me down with just this bit of strength? I truly don't know where your confidence comes from. Lin Xian replied indifferently. On account of Xian'er's face, I'll give you a chance to live as well. If you scram down obediently, I won't do anything to you. Damn it. The ninth prince was grinding his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. He had always been high and mighty, and didn't even take Qin Xian'er seriously. Not to mention the person in front of him. But right now this detestable lad had actually dared to threaten him. I'll let you witness my prowess now. I'll make you regret it. As he said that, he formed a seal with his palm. A terrifying aura spread out, and the phantom of a nine-tailed beast condensed in his palm print. It appeared in the void in an instant. Then, as though they had turned into heavenly blades, those nine tails slashed out at Lin Xian ferociously. Boom. At the same time, an unparalleled amount of power burst forth that vibrated out between the heaven and earth. At this moment, even those people on the sky stairway were stunned. They could not help but admit that the Nine-Tail tribe was truly frightening. This ninth prince was indeed a top-tier powerful being. Seemed like this young man was in for some bad luck. Many people shook their heads and sighed. Is it over? The ninth prince's lips curled into a smile. He knew that Lin Xian was no match for him. Is this all you've got? You're so pitifully weak. A faint voice was heard amid the raging power. It seemed as though everyone's divine invitation had been frozen. How is this possible? He's still alive. The ninth prince's pupils constricted. I don't believe it. He slapped out with his palm again, and those nine tails danced wildly. The void in front of him shattered once again, turning into chaos. However, at this moment, a palm could be seen. Like a ferocious tiger, it bit down on those nine tails. Then, with a forceful swing, the nine-tail illusion was split into two. In the next moment, a figure walked out from the shattered void, and golden flames danced on his body. He looked like a sun war god. What kind of movement technique is that? Many people gasped in shock. The pupils of the side demons constricted. He's here. Damn it. This is the physique that sent me flying previously. Now he's displaying such a strong physique. What is that? The ninth prince was also stunned. He looked at the burning sound in front of him, and his face turned extremely ugly. Who are you? He was really too shocked. He realized that the other party had been hiding his strength previously. Such a terrifying movement technique was something that he had never seen before in the Green Hill world. Damn it, I was too careless. Do you still think that you have the right to ask me to go down now? Lin Xian asked coldly. He was like a supreme war god, looking down at the other party. The ninth prince was extremely displeased with this feeling. He gritted his teeth and said, Kid, don't be arrogant. I've obtained a treasure here, and it's far from what you can understand. Next, I'll let you see the supreme technique of our nine-tail tribe. He formed a hand seal with his palm, and countless green flames danced and swept in all directions, forming a formation. It directly enveloped Lin Xian. The formation had the phantoms of 4 demonic foxes that stood between heaven and earth. Immediately, everyone felt an extremely strong soul fluctuation sweep out. 1,000 Fox Spirit Destruction Formation. A cold voice sounded, and the 8 tails behind the ninth prince spun, fully activating his bloodline power. Today, I'll let you see the supreme technique of our Green Hill tribe. Is this an illusion? This kid has a strong physique, but he can't block an illusion. This time he's probably really in danger, right? Everyone shook their heads. Chapter 4198. Lin Xian was enveloped by the formation. Countless fox phantoms appeared around him, constantly unleashing all kinds of illusion and soul attacks. They were attacking his soul. If it were any other minor saint, they would have been killed instantly. Lin Xian guessed that even those on the pilgrim list wouldn't be able to withstand the attack. Unless they had an extremely strong soul defense saint artifact, only then would they be able to withstand it. This was the strength of the Nine-Tailed clan. The ninth prince was absolutely unparalleled outside, but Lin Xian was also a soul expert. Moreover, his soul had already reached the level of a saint venerable. Therefore, he wasn't afraid of such a terrifying illusion formation. Lin Xian stood there. Golden light shone in his eyes, forming strange patterns that kept spinning. Strands of soul energy flew out from his eye technique. It turned into a sword light that kept spinning. Every strike would destroy the fox phantoms that approached him. Lin Xian stood there as if nothing could touch him. What's going on? This kid isn't affected at all. The surrounding people were stunned when they saw this. Qin Xian'e smiled. Even she couldn't compare to Lin Xian's soul power. Although the ninth prince might be stronger than her, it was impossible for him to defeat Lin Xian. Sure enough, the ninth prince's pupils shrank. Could it be that Lin Xian didn't just have a strong physique? Was he also a soul expert? How was this possible? Where did he get the energy to cultivate both his soul and physique at the same time? 10,000 fox phantoms cried. The ninth prince formed a seal again. 10,000 fox phantoms appeared together. This was a killing move that could shatter a person's soul instantly. Not good. The surrounding people also retreated frantically. Qin Xian'e also revealed a solemn expression. The attack on the soul was unusually strange. The soul sword that Lin Xian had conjured was completely engulfed. It seemed that he was also about to be engulfed. At this moment, Lin Xian's eyes burst out with an even colder radiance. His eyes seemed to have turned into the eyes of a god. A fire dragon came out of his left eye and roared at the sky. A lightning tiger came out of his right eye. The dragon and tiger roared. Together, they released soul fluctuations to resist the cries of the 10,000 foxes. The collision of their souls had reached its peak. Boom. Boom. Under everyone's shocked gazes, thousands of Hulai's phantoms shattered. The ninth prince spat out a mouthful of blood and fell from the sky stairway. He fell to the ground, his face full of shock. How is this possible? You actually managed to defeat me in a soul illusion. He felt that it was too unbelievable. In the distance, the princes and princesses of the nine-tailed tribe were stunned too. They ran over and helped the ninth prince up, their faces full of shock. Damn it, who the hell is this kid? Lin Xian retracted his Tianji god eyes and said coldly, now do you know who will be chased out? To be honest, I never thought of chasing you away. But you just had to recklessly provoke me, so don't blame me. Damn it. The ninth prince was so angry that he vomited blood. His soul had received a huge impact, and he didn't have the strength to go up again. Guan Songhai shook his head and sighed when he saw this. Qin Xian'e's expression was similarly cold. Since the other party had attacked her without regard for her feelings, she wouldn't be polite now. She snorted softly and turned around. All right, the 9 of you can come up now. At this moment, the voice of the Green Hill emissary sounded. Lin Xian and the others took a deep breath and walked up the sky stairway. Soon, their figures gradually disappeared. When they reappeared, they realized that they were in the cave again. Furthermore, they discovered that there were 3 other caves around them. In the other spaces, they could see each other clearly this time. Those people also turned their heads and looked over. For a moment, everyone sized each other up. Among them, someone exclaimed. Obviously, they recognized each other. Qin Xian'e was also shocked. Chao Tiansheng, Gu Feng, and Wan Jinyi were all there. Qingqiu Cave, you guys are quite slow this time. At this moment, a figure in the opposite cave spoke. Everyone looked up and was shocked. They realized that the aura of this person was similar to the Qingqiu emissary. Could it be that he was also an emissary? They were puzzled. It was them. The nine-tailed tribe. Which tribe were the other 4 from? But they must be extraordinary. The Green Hill emissary walked up and said in a deep voice, we have more geniuses on our side, so I'm afraid it will take a little more time to determine the winner. Hearing this, the other emissaries forgot to come over. Oh, is that so? Let me see. Their eyes were like magic lamps as they scanned the bodies of Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian and the others shuddered as if their secrets were about to be seen through. These people were very powerful and were probably extremely terrifying among the sacred venerables. Only one person from the Green Hill tribe has successfully passed this time. It was really surprising. The emissary on the opposite side laughed. The Green Hill emissary's face also darkened after hearing this. To be honest, the 9th prince and the eldest prince, who he thought highly of, were actually eliminated. It was really beyond his expectations, so when he looked at Lin Xian, his expression was a little unfriendly. Lin Xian felt uncomfortable all over. He naturally knew that he might have unknowingly offended this emissary. He hoped that this emissary couldn't casually attack, otherwise he would be in a very troublesome situation. Alright, since they're already here, let's begin. Let's not waste time. At this moment, another emissary walked out. He spoke in a deep voice. Everyone turned their heads and saw that the 4 caves stood in 4 different directions, representing different powers and laws. Green Hill Cave mainly focused on illusions and power, while the cave opposite had a violent and sharp aura. The one on the left had a vast aura, while the one on the right had an extremely cold and gloomy aura. Alright, now that you have passed the test, you have one chance to choose a Grotto Heaven. Once you succeed, you will become an in-name disciple of the Grotto Heaven. When you really come to this world in the future, we will lead you to the Grotto Heaven. The surrounding people were in an uproar. What was a Grotto Heaven? Why hadn't they heard of it? Even Qin Xianer was stunned. However, Lin Xian's pupils constricted. Others didn't know, but he knew that he had killed people from the Grotto Heaven before. Back then, he guessed that these Grotto Heavens shouldn't be in the 2nd astral realm, and now it seemed very likely. Could it be that the Grotto Heavens were in the legendary 3rd astral realm? What shocked him even more was that the Grotto Heavens were actually related to so many of the 2nd astral realm. Then, would the top figures of the 2nd astral realm have to go to the Grotto Heavens? Lin Xian felt that it was really unbelievable. It seemed that they were paving the way in advance. The others were also in an uproar. They wanted to ask what the Grotto Heavens were. However, the 4 emissaries didn't answer at all. Instead, they directly let them make a choice according to their own laws. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He felt that this was an opportunity. After all, he had killed the 1st prince and defeated the 9th prince previously, and had already offended the Green Hill clan. Even if the emissaries didn't kill him, the Sage King and Sage Empress wouldn't let him off when he returned. Chapter 4199. Lin Xian transmitted his voice to Qin Xianer, saying, I might go to other Grotto Heavens. Do you want to go? Qin Xianer instantly understood what was going on. She naturally knew Lin Xian's current situation. If he stayed here and returned to Green Hill Star, it would be extremely dangerous. Hence, she said, you don't have to worry about me. The 1st prince is dead, the 9th prince is defeated, and I'm the only one who made it to the end. Hence, even if those people suspect me, the Sage King will do his best to protect me. All right, Lin Xian nodded, indicating that he understood. Then he walked out and said, I'm going to this Grotto Heaven. Lin Xian was the first to walk out because the others were still thinking about it. However, Lin Xian had his own reasons. Indeed, the 9-tailed fox's eyes shone coldly. To be honest, even though he could choose freely, he was still unhappy that someone had left. Was it this person who had the aura of dragons again? It seemed like he knew that he couldn't stay in Green Hill Cave any longer. The other 3 messengers also walked out. They looked at Lin Xian in surprise. On the surface, they didn't see anything special about him. However, to be able to make it to the end, he must be extraordinary. One of them asked, Oh, which Grotto Heaven are you going to? To be honest, every Grotto Heaven had some top geniuses that other Grotto Heavens wanted to recruit. However, they didn't find anything special about Lin Xian, so they weren't too interested. Lin Xian walked towards Chao Tiansheng's Grotto Heaven. He said, I want to enter this one. Chao Tiansheng raised his eyebrows and a glint appeared in his eyes. The messenger was also surprised. You can join if you want. Just then the Green Hill messenger said, Young people can join freely, but the messengers have the right to decide. If you want to join, you have to pass a test. Hearing this, the other 2 messengers smirked. Let's see what the first guy is capable of. Sure, I'm willing to accept any challenge. Lin Xian nodded. The messenger smiled. This is Howren Grotto Heaven, and I'm the messenger. Since you're willing to join the challenge, I'll give you a chance. Who wants to challenge him? If he could survive 10 moves, he would be allowed to join. Hearing this, the others whispered to each other. Chao Tiansheng's eyes flickered. To be honest, he really wanted to make a move. However, he knew that if it was really the person he guessed it to be, he probably wouldn't use his true abilities at the moment. That would be meaningless, so he didn't make a move. At this moment, a person walked out. "Let me test you." A man walked out. He had a vast and ethereal aura around him. Cloud-piercing hand. As soon as he came up, he waved his hands and passed through everything. In an instant he arrived in front of Lin Xian, intending to send Lin Xian flying. Quite a few people were astonished. Those who were able to come here were indeed not weaklings. Lin Xian smiled faintly. His figure rumbled like thunder as he dodged in an instant. At the same time, he threw out a punch like a ferocious tiger. This punch carried a violent aura. The cloud-piercing hand was torn apart, but the other palm pressed down on the ferocious tiger as if trying to seal it. What a strange palm. Lin Xian was also surprised, but he wasn't afraid. Now that everyone was watching, he couldn't use his divine body and his previous abhijna. Fortunately, he had comprehended the law of thunder and the tiger demon fist, which were enough to deal with everything. Lin Xian waved his fist, and the ferocious tiger pressed down by the cloud-piercing hand suddenly roared at the sky. It let out a terrifying roar and directly shattered everything. He kicked out like lightning, and it was like a divine sword. Countless rumbles sounded between heaven and earth. Immediately after, Lin Xian used his fist technique again, and fought with his opponent. In the seventh move, the man was forced back. His arms hung down. His cloud-piercing hand was broken. Lin Xian said indifferently as he retracted his attack. "Thank you." Many people around were surprised. The Howren emissary's eyes also lit up. It seemed that he was a top expert. He nodded in satisfaction. "Very good, you passed the challenge, and can join the Howren Grotto Heaven." The person who attacked also came back. He stared at Lin Xian and asked, "How should I address you?" "You can call me Sword Maniac," Lin Xian said indifferently. Hearing this, the others were puzzled. A few people's pupils shrank. For example, Wang Jiani frowned. Gu Feng also had a fierce look in his eyes. They had heard of this name before, but it had only appeared once before disappearing. They didn't expect this person to appear again, and show such strange strength. They didn't know which sect this person was from. Lin Xian had successfully joined the Howren Grotto Heaven. When he walked in, he looked at Chao Tiansheng. Chao Tiansheng nodded slightly at him. Lin Xian was stunned for a moment before nodding his head. He was surprised. This Chao Tiansheng was too mysterious. Could it be that the other party recognized him? Moreover, he remembered that someone had fought with him in the valley. He thought about it and felt that it might be this mysterious Chao Tiansheng. However, it was just his guess. As for who exactly did it, he didn't know. Next, another 3 people exchanged grotto heavens. Among these 3 people, one of them had surprised him greatly, because the aura of that person was too cold. It made him frown. At this moment, the person beside him snorted. "This guy is arrogant. He's just an earth dragon." Lin Xian turned around and realized that it was a woman who said that. She had dragon scales on her forehead. Was she a member of the dragons? He was surprised. Then he asked, "You mean that person is an earth dragon?" Earth dragons weren't dragons. In fact, they had nothing to do with dragons. How could a dragon be so powerful? "Don't you know him?" The woman turned around with a look of surprise on her face. Legend had it that this person was very mysterious. He traveled underground for many years, and actually entered an ancient tomb. It was a relic left behind by a supreme saint, and he obtained it. This guy has a very arrogant name, Nine Nether. He's from the Acheron Hall. Nine Nether, Acheron Hall? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Nine Nether, who was in front of him, seemed to have sensed it. He suddenly turned around with a terrifying light in his eyes. Their gazes clashed in the air. Countless people were watching. The woman from the dragons said, "Do you know him? Do you have a grudge against him?" "I don't know him, but maybe." Lin Xian said, "My name is Meng Qing, and am from the Blue Dragon clan. You're a sword maniac, right? I don't know which faction you're from." Chapter 4200. Lin Xian said, "I did use the Tiger clan's fist technique, but am not from the Tiger clan. Speaking of which, I have a very close relationship with the dragons." Could it be that you're from the dragons? Meng Qing was stunned. Before Lin Xian could answer, the Howren emissary and the others said, "Let's go. Since no one else has a choice, we can start now. The fact that you can come here is enough to show your talent and strength. Now, you have become the registered disciples of our Grotto Heaven. You have the opportunity to obtain the power of law provided by the Grotto Heaven to temper yourself. As for how much you can gain, it depends entirely on your own luck." As they spoke, the 4 emissaries formed a seal. The Grotto Heaven behind them suddenly became bright, as if it had formed an independent space again. The great Tao inside intertwined and became unusually shocking. Go and obtain your opportunities." Hearing this, Lin Xian and the others' eyes instantly lit up. They didn't say anything and directly rushed in. After Lin Xian entered, he first felt the vastness of heaven and earth. A huge force pressed down on him. It was so terrifying that he couldn't believe it. Many people beside Lin Xian rushed forward. Chao Tiansheng turned into a stream of light. Meng Qing also said, "Oh, go first." Soon he disappeared into the energy in front. Then, the violent energy swept over. Lin Xian was even more excited. This was great. His physique was already at the Saint Venerable level, and his soul had also reached the Saint Venerable level. The only thing he lacked was his cultivation. Moreover, he had so much power. This was too beneficial for him. Therefore, he didn't say anything and directly began to absorb the power crazily. He stood there, and the power from all directions entered his body. Lin Xian crazily activated the longevity art and circulated it. Lin Xian fought all the way. Although his improvement was fast, his realm was very stable. This was all because of him, one step at a time with his feet firmly planted on the ground. Therefore, at this moment, after he crazily activated it again, his cultivation increased at a terrifying speed. He was originally at the late stage of Small Saint, but now he had reached the peak of Small Saint. Furthermore, the speed of the absorption was growing faster and faster. Lin Xian also let out a low growl. Longevity art. He had been cultivating all this time and had never changed it. This thing actually didn't become outdated at all as he improved. In particular, the further they went, the stronger the power they displayed. It was simply incomparably vast. At this moment, his crazy absorption naturally alarmed the others. Who was it? They were all trying to find out who it was that had such speed. It was that kid. His name was Sword Maniac. What kind of person was he? How could he absorb energy so crazily? When Chao Tiansheng saw this, he was shocked. On the other side, Meng Qing was even more shocked. Did this kid not want to live anymore? To be honest, although their absorption speed was also fast, Lin Xian was several times faster than them. His body could not withstand such an absorption. How could he know that Lin Xian's physique had long since reached the level of a holy venerate? Furthermore, after the change in his life's natural order, he could completely withstand it. As long as there was a large supply of energy, therefore in just a few days Lin Xian had reached the peak of Minor Saint. Moreover, it seemed that he would continue to break through. The people around him were very far away, because Lin Xian had sucked away all the power that was close to him. But fortunately, this place was big enough for them to absorb energy. Otherwise, they would have attacked Lin Xian. On this day, there was a sudden clap of thunder in the sky, shocking everyone. They stood up one after another and looked into the distance. Could it be that he was about to break through? Lin Xian let out a roar and looked up to the sky. Terrifying thunder gradually condensed and struck down. Come on, Lin Xian had been waiting for this moment. It had been a long time. He merged with the great dragon sword soul in his body, and let out a loud dragon roar that shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Meng Qing's eyes widened. Dragon roar, is he really a dragon? To be honest, she felt that her blood was about to freeze. She was a member of the Blue Dragon clan. The other party's dragon roar was even more terrifying than hers. What kind of bloodline is this? However, she also knew that there were many types of dragons. The blue dragon was just one of them. There were also some dragons that were more powerful than the blue dragon. Perhaps the other party was one of those people who walked out of the Dragon Balls. However, after the other party transformed into a human, he didn't look like a dragon at all. It was really surprising. Lin Xian's lightning tribulation was very terrifying. After all, It was the lightning tribulation for breaking through to the Saint Venerable realm. It was much more terrifying than the previous ones. At this moment, the golden light on his body bloomed. He had no choice. He had to resist with all his strength. Fortunately, the surrounding thunder was terrifying. The others couldn't see it clearly at all. They could only hear the sound of bombardment. At the same time, in the second astral realm, in the pitch-black universe, a blood-red lightning suddenly flashed across. The rumbling was so loud that countless stars and realms could feel it. They looked up at the sky and saw that the sky was blood-red. It shocked them. What happened? Did a super expert fall? They didn't know. Even the Saint Wang was alarmed. One by one they searched. However, they didn't know what happened either. In the depths of the Destiny Star, the bronze envoy was originally cultivating. But suddenly, he felt a rumbling sound and a blood-red light that filled the sky. Even the Destiny Stone trembled violently. The bronze envoy suddenly opened his eyes. Looking at the scene, his face was filled with shock. Blood-red lightning. Was it the punishment of the heavens? It shouldn't be. Could it be that another person abandoned by the heavens had appeared? At the same time, in this mysterious space, Lin Xian had already entered the late stage. He felt that the energy in his body was increasing exponentially. Once he crossed this step, he would completely surpass the minor saint realm. At that time, he could kill a minor saint with just a glance. However, at the last moment, he felt an intense pressure. The whole sky was about to split open. There was a red light flickering inside. Boom. Lin Xian was sent flying, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His 9-yang divine body was split open. What's going on? The power of lightning has become even more terrifying. It's many times more terrifying. How could it be? Breaking through to the Saint Venerable realm shouldn't be so powerful. The others were also shocked. What's going on? They felt a chill down their spines. Chao Tianxing frowned and stared at Lin Xian. Then he sighed. Originally, there were signs of a breakthrough in his body, but he forcefully stopped it. Lin Xian's body recovered and broke through again. However, at this moment, the terrifying aura pressed down on him again. It caused his body to split open once again. What's going on? There's only one step left. Could it be that there's a problem? He raised his head and looked at the sky. The red lightning in the crack became more obvious. It seemed like it was about to descend. Chapter 4201. Damn it! Lin Xian roared, and a dragon-shaped sword energy flew out of his body and rushed into the sky. This angered the blood-red lightning even more, and it directly descended. With one strike, the 3 rivers were shattered, and the surrounding people were all sent flying, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Lin Xian also looked as if he had been struck by lightning, and many cracks appeared on his body. It was too terrifying. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. This attack was not weaker than the attack of a Saint King. This was the second time he had encountered such a fatal crisis. What should he do? The Void Divine Furnace. However, there were so many lightning tribulations. Could the Void Divine Furnace block all of them? Moreover, he still had to break through. Just as the blood-red lightning was about to envelop him, the mysterious small sword in Lin Xian's body trembled. It directly swallowed him. In the next moment, Lin Xian disappeared. The blood-red lightning did not fall. Instead, it floated in the sky. That terrifying aura pressured everyone to the point that they were unable to breathe. What exactly happened? Other than Lin Xian, the others were also close to breaking through and attracted the heavenly tribulation. However, at this moment, they had all been passively stopped. Who would dare to break through under the blood-red lightning? Even the Howran envoy was alarmed. After he arrived, he looked at the lightning in the sky, and his pupils constricted. How could this be? He looked in all directions, but he did not know who it was. Even the blood-red lightning in the sky was puzzled. He stared at everyone, but he felt that it was not them. In the end, he slowly disappeared. The large crack in the sky was still bobbing up and down. Everyone was shocked. At the same time, Lin Xian's figure also appeared. He looked around and was greatly surprised by the familiar yet strange scene. This was the mysterious small sword in his body. He had not entered that world for a long time. He did not expect that this time, the mysterious small sword would take the initiative to absorb him. After entering, He found that he was not attacked by the blood-red lightning. Could it be that he was isolated? It was really unbelievable. However, what was going on? Was it because he was abandoned by the heavens? He felt that the aura was very similar. Damn it. What kind of force was behind the bronze envoy? Would he be able to directly trigger the heavenly punishment? It could even affect a breakthrough. This was too heaven-defying. Could it be that he was a martial monarch? That shouldn't be the case. There were no great emperors in this world. Was that a supreme existence above the great emperor? Lin Xian felt a headache coming on. Then what was the world in his body? Why was it able to isolate the heavenly punishment? Could he cultivate here? Lin Xian gave it a try and felt that this world was much more terrifying than the outside world. He could fly in the sky and burrow into the ground outside, but in here, even running was a problem. The laws here were too terrifying, and the suppression was too strong. Lin Xian felt that he could cultivate here, but not now. He was afraid that he would have to wait for his cultivation to improve before he could cultivate here. He had no choice but to take out the dream leaf and send his soul in. The Green Mountain Holy King's soul imprint had been left on the mask, so he had to find the other party and ask about it. The soul imprint of the Green Mountain messenger transformed into a hazy figure. When he sensed Lin Xian's aura, he was also greatly surprised. Are you going to break through to Saint Venerable so soon? Did you receive any threats? Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. I was almost killed by a blood-colored bolt of lightning. What's going on? Green Mountain Sage King also sighed. I knew it long ago, but I really underestimated your breakthrough speed. In my opinion, it was impossible for you to reach this realm so quickly. Therefore, I was prepared to tell you after a while. Now, it seems that I can only tell you in advance. I've said before that we are the same kind of people. You are a person abandoned by the heavens, and am afraid I'm the same. We are suppressed by the heavenly Tao. The further we cultivate, the stronger the suppression. Especially every time we break through, others might be facing heavenly tribulation, but we might attract heavenly punishment. Those red lightning bolts are much more terrifying than heavenly tribulation. I think you should have felt it. Lin Xian nodded. Could it be that he couldn't break through in this lifetime? To be honest, he couldn't cultivate when he was sealed by the Black Lotus. He didn't expect that he would be targeted again when he broke through now. He was targeted by the so-called Heavenly Tao. What should he do? Green Mountain Sage King took a deep breath. There were two ways. First, go to the buried Emperor Star. Second, go to planet Xiwan. These two worlds were extraordinary. There were some places that heavenly punishment couldn't affect. After all, there were too many great emperors in these two worlds. It's safe for you to break through there. Sure, Yuanqing and the buried Emperor Star? Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that only great emperors could suppress heavenly punishment. However, these two worlds were very far away from him. The buried Emperor Star was said to be in the distant third astral realm. It was impossible to go there. Planet Xiwan? It was possible, but he had to cross many obstacles to return. In order to improve his cultivation, Lin Xian decided to return to planet Xiwan. However, Green Mountain Sage King did say that he didn't need to rush back. Don't break through first. You should know about the Heavenly Tao debate. Go and participate in the Heavenly Tao debate. After you pass, the Sage Kings will personally bring you to planet Xiwan. Another Heavenly Tao debate. Why do I have to go to planet Xiwan? Lin Xian was surprised. Green Mountain Sage King said, I can't tell you too much now. I can only tell you one thing. There's a passage to the buried Emperor Star in planet Xiwan. The moment he heard these words, Lin Xian was completely flabbergasted. To think that there would be some sort of connection between these two unique worlds. It was just that his cultivation was too weak before, and he didn't know. It seemed that he had to participate in the Heavenly Tao debate. Lin Xian understood. He retracted the illusion. Then he took a deep breath. Now he was in the mysterious small sword world to consolidate his cultivation. He was now half a step into the sacred venerate realm. He was just a little bit away from breaking through. However, he wasn't in a hurry now. For safety's sake, he would wait until after the Heavenly Tao debate. After consolidating his cultivation, Lin Xian carefully explored the small sword world. He found that with his current strength he was barely able to enter. He estimated that if he wanted to move freely in here, he would have to at least reach the Sage King realm. At that time, he would be able to explore the mysteries of this small sword world. Suddenly Lin Xian's eyebrows twitched. He sensed something outside, so he left the mysterious small sword world. Outside, the Howren emissary's face was cold. He was investigating what was going on. However, no one said it clearly. They only knew that someone had attracted this kind of blood-red lightning when he was breaking through. Where is that sword fanatic? The Howren emissary frowned and asked. Lin Xian walked out of the void. Senior, are you looking for me? Oh, you're still here. The Howren emissary had his doubts when he saw that Lin Xian wasn't there. But now Lin Xian had actually come out. This made him bewildered. Chapter 4202. Are you okay? Meng Qing walked over with a puzzled face. Lin Xian said, I'm fine. I'm just frightened by the situation just now. Lin Xian wouldn't tell her the truth. Otherwise, if others knew that he was abandoned by the heavens, they would probably be scared out of their wits. Meng Qing nodded and said, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I have to break through quickly. Her aura was about to reach the Saint Venerable level. The others were the same. It seemed that they all wanted to break through to the Saint Venerable level. Lin Xian sat down cross-legged and let the Great Dragon Sword Soul activate some of its power to recover. Furthermore, he had always controlled his strength well. He didn't want to attract the attention of the Howren emissary. He looked around in boredom. It could be said that the breakthroughs of the people around him didn't go smoothly. After all, this was a natural chasm that blocked countless small saints. Sure enough, these people failed on the first try. Even Meng Qing failed. Lin Xian shook his head. Fortunately, he had obtained some information from the nine-tailed fox's inheritance. It contained the experience on how to break through to the Saint Venerable level. That was why he could succeed. Of course, if it wasn't for the blood-colored lightning, he would have become a Saint Venerable. Then another person tried again. The second time, he failed and was seriously injured. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He found that Qiao Tianxing was even weirder than him. He didn't cultivate at all. Instead, he opened his mouth and spat out a coffin. It was a coffin made of gold. It was shining brightly. After he opened it, the coffin began to absorb energy crazily. After it was full, he climbed in himself. Then he sealed the coffin. The coffin was buried in the ground. That scene made Lin Xian's hair stand on end. Who is this Qiao Tianxing? How can he cultivate like this? But thinking about it, everyone had their secrets. He had his secrets, so Qiao Tianxing must have his too. Lin Xian paid no more attention to Meng Qing. He noticed that Meng Qing's second attempt had failed. He thought for a while, and then walked up to her. Do you need help? You can help me break through? Meng Qing was surprised. Lin Xian nodded. I have some experience on breaking through to the Saint Venerable level. It wasn't easy for me to get it, so I can help you. But you have to do me a favor. I came from Clear Autumn World, but I definitely can't go back there. I want you to take me out, back to your world. No problem, leave it to me. Meng Qing nodded. Do you really have the experience of breaking through? Lin Xian said. Of course, he extended a finger and tapped the space between Meng Qing's brows. Following that, he imparted some of his experience in breaking through to the other party. Meng Qing was suddenly enlightened. So that was how it was. No wonder I failed twice. She was really too shocked. Next, Meng Qing broke through again. She finally became a holy venerate as she wished. A boundless aura swept out in all directions. After the others sensed it, their eyes widened. Someone had really succeeded in breaking through. They looked at Meng Qing. Someone frowned. That shouldn't be the case. His previous progress wasn't as good as mine. It was that kid. Did Meng Qing succeed after that sword maniac went? Could it be that there was some secret on that kid? Someone was watching him. Brat, tell me your secret. Two people walked over. Come up. They had already failed twice, so what they urgently needed now was any possibility of a breakthrough. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Get lost. You don't know what's good for you. The two people were furious. So what if the other party was powerful? Who wasn't a top genius? The two of them attacked and prepared to suppress Lin Xian. However, at this moment, Meng Qing slapped out with her palm. The azure dragon claw directly sent the two of them flying. Do you want to die? Damn it. The bodies of the two people were blown apart, and their faces became incomparably ugly. Previously, Meng Qing's strength was about the same as theirs. But now the other party could seriously injure them with a light palm. This was the change after breaking through to become a holy venerate. They were too envious. Hurry up and get lost. The two of them could only grit their teeth and leave because they were no match for Meng Qing. Meng Qing looked around. She said, Sword Maniac is my friend. Whoever dares to touch him, don't blame me for being rude. As she spoke, she released the aura of a holy venerate. The others were shocked and did not dare to say anything. A smile appeared on Meng Qing's face. Thank you so much. She was really happy. If not for Lin Xian's experience, she might not have been able to break through this time. It's nothing. Lin Xian smiled. Don't forget our agreement. Of course. Meng Qing nodded. She looked at Lin Xian in surprise. You haven't completely broken through? Do you want me to protect you? Lin Xian nodded. No need. I still need to accumulate for a while. Next time. He did not want to attract the lightning of the heavenly punishment. In the following time, those people tried again. However, this was really a chasm. These people tried 8 or 9 times, but they might not succeed. At this moment, the ground broke open, and the golden coffin appeared again. The seal and chains on it were unlocked. Chao Tiansheng walked out from inside. After he came out, he also had the aura of a holy venerate. Did he break through? The surrounding people were shocked. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Meng Qing was also surprised. This guy was too strange. Did he break through in the coffin? Lin Xian's face was solemn. He had the heavenly secret god eyes. Although Chao Tiansheng's movements were fast, he still took a glance. There was a piece of skin in the golden coffin. He only knew that snakes shed their skin. Could humans do the same? Chao Tiansheng kept the golden coffin and sat down cross-legged. About 10 days later, everyone's fortuitous encounter came to an end. The Howran envoy set up an array formation to let them leave. Everyone was also given a command medallion. This was the Howran medallion. If they could leave here one day and reach the real grotto heaven, they might be able to join the Howran grotto heaven. These people came with confidence, but when they left, many of them were disappointed. They did not break through again. Indeed, only Meng Qing and Chao Tiansheng broke through in the Howran grotto heaven. The other grotto heavens should be about the same, with only 2 or 3 people. He wondered how Qin Xianer was doing. With her talent, she should be fine. Lin Xian thought about it and did not look at her. He and Meng Qing left in the array formation. Planet Tianming. The bronze envoy knelt on the ground with one knee. There was a blood-red light above his head, and a terrifying sword shadow. At the same time, a voice came from inside. What's going on? Why did the second astral realm attract heavenly punishment? Was there another person abandoned by the heavens? The bronze envoy's scalp went numb. Sir, I don't know. You don't know? What's the use of having a piece of trash like you? The sword shadow in the sky became even more terrifying. The bronze envoy spat out a mouthful of blood. He said that the previous person abandoned by the heavens had been killed. If a new one appeared, it meant that he did not come to participate in the heavenly mandate. Are you sure that the previous person was completely killed? Did you see it with your own eyes? As soon as he said that, the bronze envoy's face turned ugly. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I heard that he was hit by a sage king. I don't think he survived. Investigate this matter carefully for me. Otherwise, you know what will happen to you. The sword shadow in the sky disappeared. The bronze envoy heaved a sigh of relief, but soon he clenched his fists. In the next moment he tore open space and walked out. It seemed that he was going to investigate this matter thoroughly. Chapter 4203. In the Land of the Blue Dragon. It was the world where the Blue Dragon clan lived. At the end of the Blue Dragon clan's world, there was a huge black space. It was a space tunnel. A few figures stood in front of the tunnel, led by an old man. They had dragon scales on their bodies and foreheads. Obviously, they were all from the Blue Dragon clan. Counting the days, little Qing should be back soon. One of the people behind said. The old man in front also nodded. He wondered if he could break through in the next 2 or 3 days. Suddenly, their eyes lit up. They were here. Sure enough, a surging aura came from the space tunnel. In the next moment, 2 figures walked out. Great, they're out. The people of the Blue Dragon clan were pleasantly surprised. Feeling the change in the aura on their bodies, the corners of their mouths also lifted into a smile. Who is this? Suddenly, they stared at Lin Xian and frowned. Is he a human? Why is Meng Qing with a human? Meng Qing said. He's called Sword Fanatic. I can break through this time thanks to his help. Right, he's also a dragon. Sword Fanatic. Help. And he's a dragon. Those people frowned slightly. The old man in the lead smiled. Young master, which clan are you from? Dragons have many branches. Lin Xian smiled. Senior, you're too polite. I just got some dragon blood in the past and consumed it. I'm not a real dragon. So that's how it is. There was a hint of contempt in the eyes of the people behind. However, Meng Qing said that it was all thanks to him that I was able to make a breakthrough. Grandpa, you have to thank him for me. The old man in front smiled. Since you're little Qing's benefactor, you're a guest of the Blue Dragon clan. Please. Senior, you're too polite. I'm here mainly to borrow the space transportation formation. He said that there's no hurry. That old man obviously had an extraordinary status in the Blue Dragon clan. He left with the crowd and held a banquet to celebrate Meng Qing's return. At the same time, he also held a welcome dinner for Lin Xian. Many geniuses of the Blue Dragons had gathered at this banquet. When they learned that Meng Qing had returned, they were very happy. However, when they learned that Meng Qing had returned with a human man, they were stunned. They were all stunned. Many people were gnashing their teeth in anger. Do humans dare to stand side by side with us dragons? He was truly courting death. However, they all heaved a sigh of relief when they heard that the other party would only stay here for a few days before leaving using the teleportation formation. Little Qing, now that you've made a breakthrough, I'm sure you'll have a greater chance of winning the Dao discussion. Many elders laughed and said, there's still a long time before the Dao discussion. I should be able to improve again. Meng Qing nodded. However, an elder shook his head. According to the latest information we received, this time is a little special. It seems that it will be brought forward. Just 1 year later. What? It was actually brought forward. Meng Qing was shocked. Even Lin Xian was stunned. What was going on? He didn't know, but it seemed to be because of the blood-red lightning. Something big happened while you were away. That day, a blood-red bolt of lightning illuminated the entire starry sky of the universe. Countless stars and worlds saw it. Even the Sage Kings were alarmed. However, they didn't find anything. Meng Qing was shocked when she heard the news. She recalled that she had also seen the blood-red lightning. She glanced at Lin Xian but didn't say anything. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. Even the entire second astral world knows about it? Damn it, the situation isn't good. That's right, I don't know why there's such a phenomenon. However, it was confirmed that the Dao discussion would be held in advance. The top families and holy grounds had already been informed. I wonder who's the host this time? Meng Qing was even more confused. This time it was the Acheron Hall's turn. What? It's the Acheron Hall? Meng Qing frowned. It was obvious that he didn't like the aura of the Acheron Hall. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. It seemed that every time the Dao discussion was held, there would be a holy city hosting it. This time it was the Acheron Hall's turn. When he thought of the Acheron Hall's silver corpse holy king, a trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes. This guy dared to make a move on him. He must teach the Acheron Hall a lesson. Don't worry, we won't be going to the Acheron Hall's headquarters. We'll be going to one of their subordinate worlds. However, I heard that the Acheron Hall is very strong this time. It seems that we have to be careful when we participate in the battle. After the banquet, Lin Xian stayed for another 2 days before he prepared to return. Meng Qing said, "Are you going to return to your sect? There's still a year's time. You might not be able to make it. Moreover, if you're not a disciple of a holy city or a top family, you won't be able to enter. You can only watch from the outside. If you really want to go, why don't you stay here and follow the Blue Dragon tribe?" Lin Xian thought for a while then nodded. "All right, I have a year's time anyway." Indeed, it's too late for him to act alone. That's great. We can learn from each other during this period of time. I feel that you've been hiding your strength. Mengqing was very happy. As for the young people of the Blue Dragon tribe, their faces turned ugly when they heard about it. They gritted their teeth so hard that they almost broke. Damn it, this guy is still not leaving. Should I find a chance to teach him a lesson? As expected, a few of the Blue Dragon's sky prides were ready to fight. On this day, they took the opportunity when Mengqing was in seclusion to cultivate and headed towards Lin Xian's residence. Brat, come out and exchange some pointers. These people laughed maliciously. Lin Xian opened his eyes and frowned slightly. He sighed. As expected, there are always some arrogant people who don't know what's good for them. They were like that when he was in the Qingqiu tribe. Now that he was in the Blue Dragon tribe, it was the same. It seemed that he had to teach these people a lesson. Lin Xian stood up and said, "All right, do you want to fight one-on-one or together? Why don't I fight with one hand?" After hearing that, the people of the Blue Dragons were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Damn it, how arrogant. Do you think Mengqing can protect you? Let me tell you, she's in seclusion, and will only come out after a month or two. No one can protect you. The leader was a young man called Songjia. He seemed to have one foot in the sacred venerate realm. The other two were also peak minor saints. To be honest, Lin Xian didn't care about such strength at all. Although he hadn't become a sacred venerate, he was only one step away. Even if he encountered a real sacred venerate, he wouldn't be afraid. He even had the strength to kill a sacred venerate. Therefore, he didn't care about these people at all. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian prepared to fight. At this moment, a crack appeared in the sky. Then a few figures walked out from it. A terrifying bloodline aura shrouded the entire manor. Chapter 4204. Did someone come again? And it seemed that there were quite a number of people who came, all experts. Lin Xian frowned. Was the Blue Dragon tribe really going to make a move on him? But soon he realized that was not the case. Because opposite him, those people from the Blue Dragon tribe were also frowning. They shouted coldly, "Who dares to behave atrociously in my Blue Dragon land? Get out here!" A terrifying dragon roar resounded throughout the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Hearing that, Lin Xian was surprised. Were they not here to target him? Who were they? He looked over in puzzlement. In the next moment, he discovered that these people were also flickering with a terrifying dragon aura. They had scales that emitted a cold light. These people should be dragons too. But it seemed that they were not blue dragons. Some of them had wings on their backs and were abnormally terrifying. The other group had scales on their backs that were like sharp swords that were about to rush into the clouds. When Songjia and the others saw this scene, they also frowned. Why did the winged dragon and sword dragons come to our Blue Dragon tribe? And before coming, shouldn't you have received an invitation and then waited? Who allowed you to come in? The people of the Blue Dragon tribe were indeed angry. What did the other party take their place for? A place where they could come and go as they pleased? I was wondering who it was. So it's Songjia. You dare to make a fuss in front of us? A dragon's powerhouse with dark golden wings walked out. The corners of his mouth carried a hint of disdain. A man also walked out from Sword Dragon's side. The scales on his back were purple, like 5 purple heavenly swords, abnormally terrifying. Songjia, you don't have the qualifications to control us. Asian Sword Star. Are the two of you really going to go against me, the Blue Dragon tribe? Those 2 dragons' powerhouses also laughed after hearing that. You can't represent the Blue Dragons. Let those who can speak stand up. Damn it. Songjia's expression became incomparably ugly. He roared angrily, the dragon blood in his body surging, a terrifying aura pervading out. Want to make a move? Seeing this scene, the corners of Yizen's mouth curled up into a disdainful smile. You're no match for us. A terrifying aura also surged out of his body. The dark golden wings on his back flapped, bringing about a powerful golden storm. Buzz. Those storms danced between heaven and earth, then quickly swept Songjia and the others away. The Blue Dragon tribe's expressions changed drastically. Their faces were filled with anger. They did not expect these people to take the initiative to make a move. Damn it. Songjia roared angrily. Blue Sky Seal. He formed a seal with his hands and fiercely. A terrifying palm print bloomed in the sky. as if it could destroy the world. Lin Xian was astonished as he watched from the sidelines. As expected of a member of the dragon tribe, his power was much stronger than that of other saints. However, he still shook his head slightly. Song Jie was extraordinary, but the winged dragon race expert was even more terrifying. That dark golden storm was like a heavenly blade. It was rare for the blue sky seal to be sliced in half from all directions. When Yizhen saw this scene, he shook his head in disdain. Truly pitifully weak. Oh right. I heard that Meng Qing from your blue dragon tribe went to the trial ground. Did she come? Let her come out. How can you be Meng Qing's match? Let me tell you, Meng Qing has already become a sacred venerate. All of you combined are no match for her. Song Jie roared crazily. Is that so? Has she really become a sacred venerate? On the other side, Jianxing's eyes also shone with a sharp light. Then all the more I want to see it. The 5 purple swords on his back kept trembling. It caused the surroundings to crumble. Jianxing, you won't even be able to block one move from Meng Qing. Song Jie gritted his teeth and said. Jianxing's face darkened when he heard this. How dare you judge me? He waved his hand, and a purple sword flew out from his back, slashing forward. Damn it! Song Jie's pupils shrank, and there was fear in his eyes. The power of this sword was beyond his imagination. Blue dragon body. He roared furiously as the bloodline in his body burst forth continuously. A tyrannical physique appeared. He wanted to take the sword head-on. However, with a bang he flew out like a kite, and many scales on his body fell off. Fresh blood pierced through the void. It's useless. Although the blue dragon body is a super strong body refining technique, it can't be used in the hands of trash like you. What a pity. Jianxing shook his head. The people from the blue dragon tribe turned pale. This time, they were here to teach a human a lesson. Therefore, Song Jie was the strongest among the people who had come. However, at this moment, Song Jie was nothing in front of the 2 dragons. Damn it, why didn't the blue dragon's experts come? Suddenly, they realized that an array had appeared around them, isolating them from everything. No wonder the pterosaur and sword dragons dared to be so arrogant. It seemed that it was time to teach them a lesson, and let them know the difference between them. The 2 dragons landed, and it seemed like they wanted to attack again. The people from the blue dragon tribe turned ugly. They roared crazily, but it was useless. Just as they were in despair, a cough came from the side. Lin Xian coughed twice, and his expression was a little strange. To be honest, these people could fight however they wanted. However, they shouldn't fight where he was. It would be awkward for him. Hearing the coughing sound, the members of the 3 dragon clans all turned their heads to look. The people from the blue dragons were furious. Damn it, it was all because of this kid. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so unlucky today. The winged dragon race and stegosaurus races people revealed a look of surprise. There was actually someone here, and it looked like a human. There was a human here. It was really surprising. What should they do with this human? Jianxing asked. After Yizhen saw it, he said that they should just kill him. He was just an ant anyway. As he said that, a sage from the pterosaur dragons walked out from behind him. Hee hee, kid. You can only say that you're unlucky to have met us. The wings on his back flapped, and a terrifying wind blade appeared. Lin Xian's face darkened. To be honest, this was the matter of the pterosaur dragons. He didn't intend to interfere. However, he didn't expect these people to want to attack him. They were really reckless. It seemed that he couldn't just watch the show. He had to do something. Thinking of this, he snorted coldly. With a flick of his finger, a sword chi flew out and shattered the wind blade. Not only that, it even pierced through that person's body. Poof. The sage from the pterosaur dragons flew out and screamed. The people from the blue dragon tribe were stunned. This kid actually dared to fight back. Was he not afraid of death? The people from the pterosaur dragons were also stunned. Then they became furious. Many people gathered around Lin Xian and surrounded him. Damn it! How dare a mere human attack us and injure our people? Tell us, how do you want to die? Chapter 4205. Who's going to kill him? I'll reward you handsomely. Yizhen's voice resounded. Immediately, someone from the winged dragon clan walked forward. I'll do it. This time, it was a late minor saint with terrifying strength. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Don't waste your time. They're not my match. If you want to fight, do it yourself. Lin Xian locked his gaze on Yizhen. The others were stunned. This brat wants to fight with Yizhen? Yizhen was also stunned. Then he sneered. What a reckless brat. You're not worthy of me to fight. But since you're asking for death, I'll grant you your wish. Dark golden storm. A terrifying wind flew out and shrouded Lin Xian. Ahadai. The people of the Winged Dragon clan revealed a smile. In their opinion, their boss could kill the opponent in an instant. Lin Xian retracted his hand. His 5 fingers turned into claws and pounced down like a ferocious tiger. Tiger Devil Fist. A single strike split the storm apart. An even more terrifying fist art flew towards Yizhen. Yizhen's pupils shrunk. He quickly dodged. The void where he was originally at was shattered. His blood and chi rolled and his face turned pale. It's impossible to kill me in an instant. If you don't show me your true strength, I'm afraid the one who will be killed in an instant will be you. Lin Xian sneered. So powerful? The surrounding people were stunned. The people of the Blue Dragon clan also couldn't believe it. Was this the ant in their eyes? It was unbelievable that he could fight against Yizhen. If the 2 dragons didn't come and they took action, they would probably end up in a miserable state. Yizhen's face became incomparably ugly. Being repelled by a human made him lose all face. Brat, you've completely angered me. His palms kept forming seals. 2 dark golden wings spread out behind his back. The great Tao on it kept rotating, emitting a mysterious power. He flapped his wings again, and the law of wind around him surged out violently. Heaven and earth trembled. The people of the Blue Dragon clan quickly retreated. They knew that this was the ultimate skill of the Winged Dragon clan. Wind walking under the heavens. The space in front of him was completely submerged. The pterosaur revealed a smile. No matter who you are, under this move, your astral soul would be completely destroyed. Has it been resolved? Jianxing retracted his gaze and looked at the members of the Azure Dragons again. Everyone thought that Lin Xian would be annihilated by this move. Inside the storm, a palm extended out and tore apart the void. A terrifying palm descended from the sky and slapped towards Yizhen. How could this be? Yizhen's pupils shrank. Was the other party still not dead? He resisted, and then was blasted backwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His opponent's physique was actually so strong. So that's all there is to you. Lin Xian walked out of the storm that filled the sky. The boundless great Tao on his body blocked all the storms. Was he not injured? The winged dragons were stunned, and the azure dragons were even more dumbfounded. Jianxing frowned, while Yizhen's expression became malevolent. Damn it, this is impossible. Who exactly are you? Only now do you remember to ask me who I am? Don't you think it's too late? Do you think you can ignore everything just because you're a dragon? I didn't provoke you before, and we don't even know each other. But what about you? You want to kill me directly. Do you think you can withstand my wrath? Lin Xian's eyes emitted an extremely cold radiance. He wouldn't show mercy to those who tried to kill him. Tiger Demon Fist first move. Army Destroyer. Lin Xian waved his palm again. A ferocious tiger coiled around his hand, and his entire palm emitted an extremely terrifying aura. He pushed it forward fiercely. Damn it, how dare you underestimate me? Wind movement, 9 heavens feather. Yizhen also roared furiously. The scales on his wings turned into sharp swords one after another, and flew down. They were all covered with the true blood of dragons. Not good, retreat quickly. Seeing that the 2 of them were really angry, the surrounding people frantically retreated. Both of their exceptional superpowers clashed against each other. Jianxing's eyes flickered. Even though this human's strength previously exceeded his expectations. But wind movement, this ultimate move, even he had to go all out to deal with it. Thinking about it, that human shouldn't be able to block it, right? But very soon, he discovered that his thinking was wrong. Between heaven and earth, dragon roars and tiger roars sounded out. Lin Xian's fist seemed to tear everything apart like a broken bamboo. Charging in front of Yizhen. Impossible. Yizhen screamed, flapping both wings, wanting to escape. But this punch slammed onto his body. Bang! His body was torn to pieces, directly blasted apart. What? Those people in the surroundings were all stunned. Yizhen actually lost, and was blown up by someone. Those people from the Winged Dragon clan screamed crazily. Yizhen retreated into the distance. He condensed his body anew, his expression becoming incomparably ugly. Damn it, the other party's attack was actually so powerful. Who the hell are you? Trash, you don't have the right to know. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Yizhen was angered until he vomited blood. It had always been him looking down on others, but now someone actually looked down on him. Furthermore, the other party defeated him, making him speechless. Jianxing, you're not going to make a move? Yizhen gritted his teeth and roared angrily. Jianxing's eyes bloomed with a piercing cold light. Interesting, you're worthy of me making a move. He walked out. The 5 paths heavenly swords behind him released terrifying killing intent. Lin Xian cast a glance at the other party and smiled coldly. Don't be anxious, one by one. His gaze locked onto Yizhen. I'll finish you off first. He charged forward once again. You dare. Yizhen was enraged, his expression becoming incomparably ugly. The other party actually dared to deal a killing blow to him? Come men, kill him for me. Following his command, the surrounding people from the Winged Dragon clan rushed up crazily. Get lost. Lin Xian roared angrily, another one blow to break the army, sweeping away 1,000 troops. Those people from the winged dragons around were all sent flying by him. The next moment he arrived in front of Yizhen. A terrifying fierce tiger phantom circled between heaven and earth. A hand claw directly clasped onto Yizhen's head. If you dare to touch me, you're becoming enemies with the winged dragons. Your outcome, you have to think clearly. We, the dragons, absolutely won't let you off. However, his voice had just faded when his body was directly beaten into a bloody mist. Lin Xian's tiger demon fist was too terrifying. It really had the aura of exterminating everything, directly obliterating the other party's body and soul. Dead, everyone was dumbfounded. Yizhen, such a powerful expert, already had 1 foot into the holy venerable realm, was actually killed by someone. The Azure Dragon's people were dumbfounded, while the people from the Winged Dragon clan were roaring crazily. However, no one dared to step forward. They looked toward Jianxing. Big brother Jianxing, please avenge us. Jianxing's expression was incomparably gloomy and cold. Honestly speaking, he also did not expect that the other party would actually make a move so decisively, directly killing Yizhen, making him somewhat shocked. Just what was the background of this person? Was his identity really exceedingly high? Or was it an audacious guy? Chapter 4206. Seeing that Jianxing was silent, Lin Xian said, if you want to make a move, think about the consequences. You will end up worse than him. Jianxing's pupils constricted. How dare you threaten me? Do you think that you can survive if I don't make a move? You are too arrogant. The person you killed is the pride of the winged dragons. The winged dragons will never let you off. Wait to suffer the wrath of the dragons. Let's go. Jianxing waved his hand and left with his men. No, how could it be? Brother Jianxing, aren't you going to make a move? The people of the winged dragons roared crazily. However, Jianxing didn't even turn his head. This was shocking. Could it be that Jianxing was afraid? The people of the winged dragons also quickly fled, leaving only the people of the Blue Dragon clan. They looked at Lin Xian, their bodies trembling non-stop. Lin Xian glanced at these people and said, "Scram." He shouted coldly. Immediately, the people of the dragons also left dejectedly. His villa quieted down once again. As for this news, it caused a huge commotion as it spread out. The people of the winged dragons were very angry. There was actually someone who didn't know what was good for him. He didn't put them in his eyes at all. Immediately, they sent a large number of experts to capture Lin Xian. On the other side, the people of the Blue Dragons also had ugly expressions when they heard the news. Damn it! The people of the Winged Dragons and Sword Dragons came in quietly. What were they trying to do? Some people were very angry. However, some people frowned. That human didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He killed Yizhen in the land of hidden dragons. They were afraid that it would cause a war between the 2 dragons. What should we do? Someone asked. What else can we do? Capture him and hand him over to the Winged Dragon clan. However, Meng Qing came out of seclusion. She said, "No, this matter was originally the fault of the winged dragons and sword dragons. We have already given them face by not asking them to come over and apologize. How can we go over and ask for their forgiveness? Isn't this a slap to the face of the Blue Dragon clan?" Hearing this, the others also fell silent. Indeed, they were very unhappy, but if this matter was not handled properly, it would really cause a fight between the two dragons. "Elders, do you really think that we will be safe if we hand him over? Don't forget why they came. They didn't come for my friends. Instead, they are targeting our Blue Dragon clan. Their goal was the horn of the Azure Dragon." Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Their expressions became incomparably ugly. Damn it! Could it be that these people were really here for the Blue Dragon horn? At this moment, an extremely terrifying roar resounded between heaven and earth. The void fluctuated, and the laws descended. Powerful figures appeared one after another. "Who dares to kill the people of my winged dragon clan? Get over here and accept your death." A cold voice resounded between heaven and earth. In the Azure Dragon's territory, the faces of the dragon's people changed. Not good. The winged dragon's people had come. How could they move so quickly? Many dark golden figures appeared in the sky. They were all elites of the winged dragon clan. On the other side of the void, there was a piercingly cold aura. Those were the elites of the sword dragons. They had also come, but they did not show themselves. It seemed like they wanted to watch the battle silently. "Songjio, our people died in your Azure Dragon's territory. Give us an explanation." A middle-aged man stood out and said coldly. The aura on his body was unusually cold. He was a sacred reverend. Songjio snorted. "I haven't asked you, Winged Dragon clan. Why did you come to our Azure Dragon's territory? Who gave you the right? We are all dragons. Is there anything wrong with us coming here? But what about you? You actually allowed a human to kill our Winged Dragon clan's genius. Today you must give us an explanation. Otherwise, this matter will not end." As the middle-aged man's voice fell, the terrifying aura of the Azure Dragons behind him exploded. The wind swept through the 9 heavens, shattering the sky. "Humph! Do you think we don't know what you are planning? Let me tell you, it's impossible." Meng Qing walked out and said coldly, "Yizhen deserved to be killed. Who asked him to provoke us in our territory? We only killed him and let the rest go. We are already giving your Azure Dragon clan a lot of face. If you continue to be stubborn, don't blame us for being impolite." Hearing this, the middle-aged man's face sank. "Little girl, do you think you are so arrogant just because you broke through to the sacred reverend level? Let me teach you. What is a true sacred reverend?" With that said, he clenched his fist and endless wind law spread out, forming a terrifying saber light that slashed down. Boom! Meng Qing shouted and formed a hand seal. The Azure Dragon seal slammed down. The two collided, creating a shocking explosion. Then, Meng Qing was forced back, her face pale. The middle-aged man from the winged dragons laughed. "Do you see that? There are strong and weak sacred reverends. If you want to fight me, you will have to cultivate for a few hundred years." Damn it! The people from the Azure Dragons gritted their teeth when they saw this scene. "Damn it, let's fight it out with him." Several people charged over. "What's wrong? You want to fight? Do you think that we are afraid of you?" The people from the winged dragons gave off a terrifying light in the sky. At the same time, the middle-aged man said, "This matter started because of that human. Is he still afraid to come out? Don't let your Azure Dragons be used as a tool." The moment the middle-aged man said that, the expressions of the Azure Dragon clan's people changed. A beam of light flashed in the distance. "You are looking for me. It has nothing to do with the Azure Dragon clan's people. He is here." Many people sucked in a deep breath and turned their heads to look. The middle-aged man from the winged dragons narrowed his eyes as well. To think that the Azure Dragon clan dared to come out. Honestly speaking, he was very surprised as well. "Brat, you are pretty courageous. I thought that you would sneak away." Lin Xian, on the other hand, laughed. "Why should I run? That genius that you speak of is just trash in my eyes. He thought that he was high and mighty and wanted to kill me. In the end, he got killed instead. It is that simple. Brat, no matter what you say, you have touched our winged dragons people. Moreover, I'm stronger than you, so if I kill you, I can also kill you mercilessly. The middle-aged man's holy venerable aura became even more terrifying. At the same time, many people stared at the people from the Azure Dragon clan. Don't think that the Azure Dragons will help you. Lin Xian laughed loudly. Why would I need other people's help? At this point, a loud dragon roar came from his body and shook the 9 heavens. Roar, 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 roar. The clouds in the sky were shattered, and countless cracks appeared. The surrounding dragons' people all changed their expressions. At this moment, whether it was the Azure Dragon clan, the Winged Dragon clan, or the Stegosaurus clan, their expressions became very shocked. Because the other party's dragon roar had suppressed their souls, and even the dragon blood in their bodies was agitated. How was this possible? What kind of bloodline was this? Could it be that the other party's dragon blood was even more terrifying than theirs? There will be 2 more in a while, but it might be a little slow. Chapter 4207. Damn it, who the hell are you? The middle-aged man from the pterosaur team 1 roared crazily. Even the people from the Blue Dragon clan were stunned. They had heard before that Lin Xian was related to the dragons. However, Lin Xian said that he had only consumed some dragon blood, so he was tainted with dragon aura. Now it seemed that this was definitely not the case. What kind of dragon blood could make a person emit such a pure dragon's voice? This voice suppressed their bloodline. The other party's dragon blood was higher than theirs. The people from the Stegosaurus clan were equally shocked, especially Jian Xing. He had originally come to watch the show. Who would have thought that he would be completely stunned? Fortunately, he did not make a move before. Otherwise, he was afraid that his end would be very miserable. Lin Xian saw that the power of the great dragon sword soul had intimidated these people. The corners of his mouth raised into a smile. Who am I? Have you heard of the Divine Dragon clan? The Divine Dragon clan. These young dragons all frowned. Some elders' eyelids were twitching wildly. How was this possible? Could it be that you are a member of the Divine Dragon clan? Their nerves became incomparably terrified. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He could not expose the matter of the great dragon sword soul. So he thought of the dark red divine dragon. The dark red divine dragon was also a dragon, and its dragon blood was very powerful. So he told them about the Divine Dragon clan. He did not expect these people to be so shocked. It seemed that the status of the Divine Dragon clan among the dragons was very high. Do you still dare to touch me now? Lin Xian did not take the initiative to admit that he was a member of the Divine Dragon clan. But these people did not think so. At this moment, they had already regarded Lin Xian as an existence of the Divine Dragon clan. Their nerves became incomparably terrified. How was this possible? These elders of the Blue Dragons. They also became incomparably shocked. Legend had it that the Divine Dragon clan had been extinct. How could it still appear here? They did not know, but even if he was lying and was not a member of the Divine Dragon clan, then he should be a powerful dragon. His bloodline rank is too high, so it's best that we don't provoke him. We should try our best to rope him in. The people of the Blue Dragon tribe instantly came to a decision. With their relationship with Meng Qing, they had a much better chance of establishing a good relationship with Lin Xian than the other dragons. Thus, the elders soon came to a decision. No matter what, this time he had to protect Lin Xian. As for the Winged Dragon clan, his expression became incomparably ugly. Damn it, should we make a move? These people gnashed their teeth. To be honest, they really wanted to make a move. However, if the other party's identity was too big, then they would be in big trouble. Therefore, they were now in a dilemma. If they had known, they wouldn't have been so arrogant before. If he were to leave now, it would really be embarrassing. The Stegosaurus race also discussed. They took a deep breath and decided not to target Lin Xian anymore. However, they did not retreat. After all, they only had one goal this time, and that was to obtain the blue dragon horn. All right. This young master turns out to be a member of the dragons like us. I think what happened before was just a misunderstanding. I think the fellow dragons won't pursue the matter anymore. As he spoke, the great elder of the Stegosaurus race looked forward. The middle-aged man of the Winged Dragon tribe also sighed. They said, "Let's put this matter aside for now. We have another important matter this time." That was the blue dragon horn. As soon as these words were said, the people of the blue dragon's expression became incomparably ugly. Lin Xian was also surprised. What was the blue dragon horn? He had heard of it before, but he didn't expect to hear it again. Could it be that the blue dragon horn was very useful to dragons? The blue dragon horn is the treasure of the blue dragons. When did we allow you to interfere? The people of the blue dragons roared. Damn it, their clan leader was in seclusion. Otherwise, these people wouldn't dare to come out. But fortunately, the two dragons didn't have a sage king. This made them heave a sigh of relief. However, the combined attack of the two dragon tribes still caused the blue dragon tribe members to turn pale. Since they didn't want to cooperate, then don't blame them for not being polite. The middle-aged man of the winged dragon's expression darkened. Previously he had lost face. This time he was going to get back his face ruthlessly. So he waved his hand, and the sages of the winged dragons in the sky prepared to attack. Terrifying wind laws danced between heaven and earth. On the other side, the people of the Stegosaurus race roared into the sky. Phantoms of heavenly swords appeared on their backs. They pierced through the sky. Damn it, the great elder of the blue dragon tribe also shouted angrily and activated the array formation. They didn't expect the two dragon balls to really dare to attack. The two dragons were indeed determined. This time, the blue dragon clan's clan leader was in seclusion. It could be said that they were without a leader. This was their best opportunity to attack. If they couldn't take down the blue dragon horn this time, then they really wouldn't have a chance in the future. A great battle broke out in an instant. It was abnormally intense. All kinds of dragon roars and dragon blood surged between heaven and earth. Lin Xian was dumbfounded. Did they start fighting just like that? The three dragons started fighting, and it was an earth-shattering battle. Fortunately, the land of the blue dragons was protected by a strong array formation. Otherwise, it would have been destroyed long ago. But even so, he could see that the situation of the blue dragons was very bad. It could be said that they were retreating. Damn it, are you really going to fall out? When our sage king comes out of seclusion, can you resist? The people of the blue dragons roared. The people of the winged and stegosaurus dragons snorted coldly. Do you think we don't have a sage king? This time, our sage king didn't come, and we're already giving you blue dragon's face. If you don't want to suffer any more losses, then obediently get out of the way. We only want the blue dragon horn. Retreat quickly. The blue dragon clan's great elder shouted angrily. At the same time he said, Qing'er, quickly go to Blue Dragon Mountain. Grandfather, I'll help you. Meng Qing rushed up, but the great elder said, we don't need you here. Hurry up and go to Long Dragon Mountain to unlock the seal of the blue dragon horn. When the time comes, if we can get the recognition of the blue dragon horn, then we'll be safe. Alright, Meng Qing also knew that the best way now was to get the recognition of the blue dragon horn. So she nodded, turned around, and flew into the distance. At the same time, another three figures also flew out. These were all young people, and it seemed that they were the top existences in the Blue Dragon clan. Only they had hope of getting the recognition of the Blue Dragon horn. The great elder glanced at Lin Xian again. He said, young master, you go too. Although Lin Xian was not a member of the Blue Dragon clan, he was a dragon after all. As long as he was a dragon, he would have a chance to get the recognition. This was also the reason why the winged and stegosaurus dragons wanted to snatch it. Lin Xian took a deep breath. Although he was still not sure how magical the blue dragon horn was, it was a treasure. However, from the looks of it, it should be a precious treasure. Thus his body flashed and he flew into the distance. Chapter 4208. Great Sword Maniac, you're here too. Meng Qing heaved a sigh of relief. With Lin Xian around, she felt much more at ease. The other three young sky prides frowned slightly. Damn it, what is this guy doing? However, the situation was critical and the great elder had given the order, so they didn't say anything. Instead, they gritted their teeth and flew quickly. Soon, they crossed countless mountains and arrived in front of a huge mountain. This mountain looked like a dragon lying there. It was called Mount Azure Dragon, and the Azure Dragon horn was inside. Open the seal. Near Azure Dragon Mountain, there were 9 powerful Dragon Clan experts waiting. When they saw Meng Qing and the others, They quickly made hand seals and tore open a corner of the seal. Then Meng Qing, Lin Xian, and the others quickly walked in. After entering, Lin Xian felt a powerful aura of the Tao of Dragons in the mountain. Lin Xian felt suppressed. The others were pale. It's too scary. What kind of expert left behind this aura? At the same time, they were also excited. The Azure Dragon horn was inside. If they could get it, it would be a supreme fortune. Soon, they walked in and found that there was a dazzling light inside. There was a barrier in front of them, and a dragon horn was floating inside. The dragon horn was only the size of a palm, but it was very mysterious. The dragon patterns on it were different. Lin Xian was astonished by the aura he emitted. The great dragon sword soul in Lin Xian's body rumbled. It seemed to be very happy. At the same time, many people arrived outside the Azure Dragon Mountain. It turned out that the pterosaur and sword dragons had shown their power and suppressed the Azure Dragon race. They were now near Mount Azure Dragon. The great elder of the Azure Dragons shouted angrily, "How is it? Did you go in?" The 9 people said. They had just entered. The great elder of the Azure Dragon heaved a sigh of relief. Everyone listened carefully. They couldn't let them take another step forward. They had to protect Mount Azure Dragon and send a voice transmission to the people inside, telling them to hurry up. The great elder knew that the other party had come prepared this time. They couldn't hold on for too long. "It's useless. Don't be so stubborn. You're no match for us." An old figure also descended. The dark golden wings on his back covered the sky and blocked out the sun. Heaven and earth darkened. The great elder of the winged dragons had arrived. The first elder of the Blue Dragon tribe immediately struck out with the Blue Dragon seal. As for the other party, it was the wind shakes the 9 heavens. 2 peak holy venerates attacked. Terrifying laws swept out in all directions. The others were also engaged in a great battle, and the situation was abnormally intense. Inside Mount Azure Dragon, Lin Xian and the others heard the sound transmission, and the sounds of fighting outside. All of them were extremely solemn. Were those people already here? If they broke through the seal, then they wouldn't have a chance. Damn it, we can't wait any longer. A young man walked out. He was also a heaven. Proud was a half-step holy venerate. At this moment, it cut its palm and dripped its dragon blood on the barrier. At the same time he said, "Ancestor, please acknowledge me." He was filled with anticipation, and the others were also holding their breaths. However, the Azure Dragon horn inside the barrier did not move at all. There was no reaction at all. Damn it, how could it be like this? The first young man's complexion turned incomparably pale. He was unwilling to accept this. However, this was the second person. He walked over and said, "Let me do it." Then he also cut his palm and pressed it on the barrier. This person's cultivation was a holy venerate, the same as Meng Qing. It could be said that his strength and talent were stronger than the first person's. However, the second person also did not succeed. Although he had caused the Azure Dragon horn to tremble, the seal was not broken. In other words, he did not receive its acknowledgement. Damn it, how could this be? I am your descendant. I have the purest bloodline and the Azure Dragon body. Why don't you acknowledge me? The second person roared crazily. Clearly, he could not accept this result. Barrier. There must be a problem with this barrier. I must break it. He instantly unleashed the Azure Dragon body. Then he formed hand seals and slammed his palm forward. "I can't attack." Meng Qing cried out in alarm. However, it was already too late. That person's Azure Dragon seal struck the barrier and caused it to tremble. Boundless light appeared on the barrier. The great Tao interweaved and sent that person flying. That young man vomited large mouthfuls of blood. He was seriously injured. Buzz. At the same time, Azure Dragon Mountain shook. Countless arrays shook as if they would be extinguished and shattered at any moment. What was going on? When the people outside Azure Dragon Mountain saw this scene, their expressions changed. The Azure Dragon's expressions changed. Elder Zhang cried out in alarm. What happened? The people from the winged dragons and sword dragons were also surprised. Could it be that they had been acknowledged? They were very worried. However, after waiting for a while, they realized that there was no terrifying aura coming out. They all laughed. It seemed that they had not succeeded. Humph, Azure Dragons, don't waste your energy. Your people can't break the seal of the Azure Dragon Horn at all. Let us do it. Humph, if our Azure Dragon race can't do it, then your other Dragon Balls won't have a chance either. If you go back now, we can still let bygones be bygones. If you take another step forward, don't blame us for completely falling out with you. The Azure Dragon's Great Elder shouted coldly. The Winged Dragon's Great Elder snorted coldly. Do you still have the right to negotiate with us now? Old friend, are you still not coming out? As his voice fell, the world shattered. Heaven and earth shattered as another terrifying figure appeared. Terrifying sword chi pierced through heaven and earth. Oh no, it was the Sword Dragon's Great Elder. The people from the Azure Dragon's expressions became extremely ugly. This was also a top-tier sacred venerable. They could still fight against him before. But now that another one had appeared, their Great Elder might not be able to fight against him at all. Sure enough, the Azure Dragon's Great Elder's expression became extremely ugly. He gritted his teeth and asked, "Are the people inside not done yet?" The third person inside had already completed his attempt, but he still failed. Although he was unwilling, he did not dare to get angry. After all, the second person was still seriously injured and almost killed. It was very dangerous to be disrespectful to the Great Elder. Now there were only 2 people left. As for Lin Xian and the others, they directly ignored him. He was not from the Azure Dragons at all. How could he be acknowledged by them? So, they placed all their hopes on Meng Qing. At this moment, Azure Dragon Mountain shook violently, and there was the sound of the array shattering. Oh no, they were fighting their way in. These geniuses' expressions became extremely ugly. Meng Qing, hurry up. They reminded her. Meng Qing also cut her palm and rushed forward. The Azure Dragon Horn began to spin, and the dragon patterns on it kept flickering and shining. A terrifying aura of the Tao of Dragons filled the air. It seemed that the Azure Dragon Horn was about to awaken. Seeing this scene, the geniuses of the 3 Dragon Balls widened their eyes. Could it be that Meng Qing could be acknowledged? They were too shocked and envious at the same time. I'm late today because of something. I'll make up for it tomorrow. Chapter 4209. The Azure Dragon Horn spun violently, making everyone nervous. Meng Qing took a deep breath. Was she going to succeed? But in the end, the seal was not completely broken. How was that possible? Could it be that Meng Qing had failed as well? The 3 geniuses of the Azure Dragon tribe saw this, and their faces turned ugly. Meng Qing's face turned pale as well. To be honest, this was their first time facing the Azure Dragon Horn, but it was not the first time for the entire Azure Dragons. The most outstanding geniuses of each generation would come. None of them could awaken the Azure Dragon Horn. It could even be said that Meng Qing was the closest to awakening the Azure Dragon Horn. But she still did not receive recognition. Could it be that the Azure Dragon Horn really could not be revived? At this moment, the Azure Dragon Mountain shook even more violently, and the terrifying sound came from outside. It won't be long before the 2 dragon clans attack us. Damn it! Outside, the Azure Dragon tribe had a look of despair in their eyes. Because these people had already fought to the entrance of the cave. The Winged Dragon tribe and the Stegosaurus tribe laughed. It's useless. Stop struggling. You are no match for them. If you continue fighting, you will definitely die. They had a victorious smile on their faces. Inside the cave, Meng Qing and the rest were also in despair. It's useless. It's a waste for us to stay here. Why don't we join the battle outside? These people clenched their fists. Meng Qing took a deep breath. No, we still have hope. She looked at Lin Xian. The 3 geniuses frowned. Do you think an outsider can awaken the Azure Dragon Horn? Why can't he? Didn't you feel that his aura of the Tao of Dragons was extremely pure? Maybe he can really do it. Meng Qing looked at Lin Xian and said, Sword Maniac, go and try. Lin Xian took a deep breath and nodded. All right then. He walked up. He did not cut his palm because his blood was not dragon's blood. He could only rely on the great dragon sword soul in his body and one other thing, which was the dragon breathing technique. He placed his hand on the barrier and slowly unleashed the power of the great dragon sword soul. The Azure Dragon Horn instantly emitted a dazzling light, as if it was coming to life. Meng Qing held her breath. The other 3 geniuses also widened their eyes. Could this kid really do it? It was too unbelievable. However, they realized that they were still lacking a little. While it was stronger than Meng Qing's, it was still insufficient to fully revive the Azure Dragon Horn. Lin Xian looked at the scene in front of him calmly. He naturally knew that the great dragon sword spirit had fully recovered. Of course he could do it. However, with his current strength, he could only do so much. However, it didn't matter. He still had one more thing. And that was the Dragon Ball's breathing technique. After he circulated it, every breath he took contained a mysterious power. Even Meng Qing and the others' dragon blood was pulsing with this power. This left them stupefied. What exactly was this? As for the Azure Dragon Horn in front of him, the dragon mark on it blossomed. Suddenly, the sound of a bugle horn was heard. Crack, crack, crack. The enchantment around them shattered, and the voice spread out, shaking Mount Azure Dragon. The combination of the dragon's roar and the horn's sound seemed to transform into the roar of the Azure Dragon. It spread throughout the world. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Near Mount Azure Dragon, the great battle had stopped. The people of the Azure Dragon tribe were shocked. A dragon's roar could be heard. The Azure Dragon Horn was revived. Great, they succeeded. These people were incomparably excited. How was this possible? The people of the Winged Dragon tribe and the Saber Dragon tribe were also stunned. Did they succeed? Could it be that the people of the Azure Dragon's generation really had the ability to defy the heavens? Damn it, they were just a little bit away. If they could fight their way to the cave, they would have a chance to be recognized. However, now that the Azure Dragon Horn had been revived, they had no hope at all. Sure enough, an extremely powerful sound wave erupted from the entire Mount Azure Dragon, forcing the people of the two dragons to retreat. Retreat quickly. The people of the Winged Dragons and the Saber Dragons turned pale. Many of them were injured. Great, the people of the Azure Dragons were incomparably excited. They felt their blood boiling. Who had been recognized? These people all looked into the cave. Inside the cave, Meng Qing and the others were stunned. They looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Lin Xian was also surprised. He found that the Azure Dragon Horn had arrived in front of him and was spinning nonstop in front of him. The aura of the Tao of Dragons emitted from it shocked him greatly. Did this thing recognize him? To be honest, Lin Xian was also surprised in his heart. He only had the Great Dragon Sword Soul and the Dragon Breathing Technique. He was not a dragon himself. He only wanted to give it a try, but he did not expect it to succeed. Great Sword Maniac, you really did it. Meng Qing cheered at the side. The other three geniuses clenched their fists. Their eyes were red with envy. This was a heaven-defying opportunity, and it was obtained by an outsider. Let's go, our people are waiting for us. Lin Xian nodded. He felt that the Azure Dragon Horn should be able to solve this crisis. The group of people walked out, and the people outside were filled with anticipation. They were guessing who would be recognized by the Azure Dragon Horn. Could it be that kid Sangqi? He became a sacred venerate earlier than Meng Qing. An elder said. The others also nodded. However, some people said that it was not certain. They felt that Meng Qing was more likely, although she was not the first to become a sacred venerate. Her talent and bloodline might be better than the others. Alright, let's stop arguing. They will come out soon, and we will know who was recognized by the Azure Dragon Horn. These people widened their eyes. Soon they heard footsteps. They came out. When they saw a few figures come out, their eyes shone brightly. The people from the two dragon tribes were also watching anxiously. The first person did not have it, and the second person did not have it. Could it really be Sangqi? However, when they saw Sangqi appear, he did not bring out the Azure Dragon Horn. Who could it be? It could only be Meng Qing. Great, this girl did not disappoint us. Many people laughed. The Azure Dragon's Grand Elder also smiled. However, when they saw Sangqi come out, they were dumbfounded. What's going on? Meng Qing did not bring out the Azure Dragon Horn. Who was it? Could it be that the Azure Dragon Horn was not revived? The people of the Azure Dragon tribe became nervous again. On the other hand, the people from the two Dragon Balls were excited. Great, they still have a chance. When the last person appeared, everyone was dumbfounded. Lin Xian walked out. He held the Azure Dragon Horn in his hand, and there was an extremely strong dragon aura on it. When he came out, he was the center of attention. That was the Azure Dragon Horn. The people of the Azure Dragons were the first to scream. In the next moment, everyone was shocked. How was that possible? How did that kid get it? Chapter 42:10. Lin Xian looked around and said, "You didn't see wrongly. I have been recognized by the Blue Dragon Horn." What? How is that possible? The people of the 3 great dragon clans roared crazily. They really couldn't believe it. Humph. The middle-aged man from the winged dragon tribe snorted and reached out his hand to grab Lin Xian. It seemed that he wanted to attack by force. "How dare you!" The blue dragons roared, but it was too late. After all, Lin Xian had comprehended the law of wind. It was terrifying. Lin Xian was not afraid of the sacred master's attack. He held the blue dragon horn and injected energy into it. The blue dragon horn let out a terrifying sound. Then the blue dragon mountain behind him seemed to have come alive. It reached out a dragon claw and slapped it. It slapped the middle-aged man from the winged dragons away. The first elder of the blue dragon tribe stepped forward and yelled coldly upon seeing this. "He has been recognized by the blue dragon horn. Do you still want to attack?" Hearing this, the grand elder of the winged dragons fell silent. The guardian of the sword dragons also looked terrible. They said, "Let's go." The people from the 2 dragon clans left unwillingly. But so what if they were unwilling? They had no other choice. After these people left, the blue dragons heaved a sigh of relief. Many of them looked at Lin Xian with complicated expressions. They hoped that the blue dragon horn would be revived. But they did not expect that the blue dragon horn would be taken by an outsider. But fortunately, Lin Xian's dragon bloodline was strong. Everyone was a dragon. They could accept it. And next, they would try their best to rope in Lin Xian. "Sir, this way please." They treated Lin Xian much better than before. They even treated him as a guest of honor. The young geniuses of the Blue Dragon tribe were unhappy at first. But after seeing this, they lowered their heads. They had no choice. Now that Lin Xian said that he wanted to attack them, their elders would probably do anything. They would be knocked to the ground. Lin Xian was also surprised. "What's so special about the blue dragon horn?" he secretly asked Meng Qing. Meng Qing said that there was such a legend in ancient times. That was that the dragons back then. There was a battle between the dragons. Each of them was king and no one was willing to submit to the other. Then, a super expert of the dragon tribe appeared and cut off one of the dragon horns of the blue dragon tribe's ancestor. Then he used it to command the dragons. Back then he was extremely powerful. Let the many years of struggle for the Dragon Balls end. Since then, the Azure Dragon Horn had become a supreme symbol. Legend had it that one could command the dragons. So the Dragon Horn recognized. That was its that STT Dragon S Dragon Lint. Lin Xian visited the land of the Blue Dragons. He even browsed through the unique skills of the Blue Dragon clan. He didn't cultivate the Blue Dragon body. After all, he had the 9 Yang Divine body. However, he was very interested in the Blue Dragon seal and the Blue Dragon 9 palms. So he asked for the complete cultivation method to cultivate. In the following days, Lin Xian stayed in the land of the hidden dragons. He cultivated these 2 divine abilities. However, on this day, the people of the sword dragons came. This time, the other party didn't come to fight. They came to apologize. They apologized and invited Lin Xian to their sword dragons. Lin Xian was worried. Could this be a trap? However, the great elder of the blue dragons smiled and said, "Don't worry. If it was before, they might have some tricks up their sleeves. But now that you have obtained the recognition of the blue dragon horn, they won't do anything rash. They will only try their best to please you." Hearing this, Lin Xian was relieved. So he left with the messenger of the Sword Dragon clan. After arriving at the Sword Dragons, Lin Xian was also treated very well. He was even able to browse some of the secret skills and inheritances of the Sword Dragons. The sword controlling technique of the Sword Dragon clan was very terrifying. As an expert of the Sword Dao, Lin Xian was very happy about this. Thus, he decided to study it for a while. On the other side, the people of the winged dragons also sent messengers to apologize. However, when they arrived at the land of the hidden dragons, they learned that Lin Xian had already gone to the sword dragons. So they could only wait patiently. However, after waiting for a few months, they realized that Lin Xian still hadn't appeared. This made them somewhat unable to bear it. Could it be that they had completely offended him? They felt that something was wrong. So they hurried to the place of the sword dragons to wait. Fortunately, the winged dragons and the sword dragons had a good relationship. Therefore, the elder of the sword dragon Pearl told Lin Xian about this matter. After hearing this, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He was very happy that the sword dragons had obtained some cultivation technique inheritances. He wanted to know if the winged dragons had any other inheritances. He was very interested in the other party's law of wind. Therefore, Lin Xian also prepared to go. After all, he was only one step away from breaking through to the holy venerate level. However, at this moment, it was not the time to break through. Therefore, if he wanted to increase his strength, he could not break through from his cultivation. Instead, he had to obtain great power from other laws and divine abilities. Therefore, he followed the elder of the winged dragon clan. The people of the winged dragons heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the other party had come. Otherwise, they would have been scared out of their wits. Lin Xian cultivated the law of wind among the winged dragons, and also cultivated the wind-stirring ninth heaven. This made him very happy. This way, his speed would become even faster than before. After the law of lightning, Lin Xian had another law. Just like this, a year's time was up in the blink of an eye. The people of the azure dragons took a deep breath. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. This was because the day of the sage debate had begun. The young geniuses of the azure dragons were very excited. Lin Xian also clenched his fists. This time, the sage debate was very important to him. He must succeed and return to planet Xiyuan. This way, he could break through to the holy venerate level. At the same time, in the entire second astral realm, not only the azure dragons, but also the top families in holy cities. It was also very lively. These people were all ready to take action. At the same time, the Acheron Palace also announced to the world. After all, as the host of the sage debate, they naturally had to do everything well. This time, the sage debate was hosted in the Heavenly Wind world, which was a subsidiary world of the Acheron Palace. Once the news was out, the various great sage cities also took action. The azure dragons also prepared to take action. The Heavenly Wind world was also very lively. Originally, the people of this world had been transferred to other worlds. Those who could come were all experts in the starry sky. They were either sages who had been famous for a long time or top geniuses. In short, it was extremely dazzling. And the weak were not qualified to come to this world. If they wanted to watch the battle, they could go to the other worlds and watch from afar. Lin Xian and the people of the Azure Dragon tribe came together and left. After all, he had some things to do. It was not convenient for him to be with the people of the Azure Dragon Pearl. He changed his appearance and used the name of the sword fanatic. So not many people knew him. At this moment, he was walking in the Heavenly Wind world. He saw many geniuses and experts. These people gathered together and discussed intensely. Some of them even talked about martial arts and sparred. Lin Xian even saw a battle between two geniuses of the holy cities. In the end, they were really angry. However, they did not fight to the death. Instead, they stopped. The smell of gunpowder was so strong. Lin Xian analyzed and knew that the sage debate was related to the fate of every holy city and their future benefits. These holy cities would naturally not be soft-hearted. This is getting more and more interesting. Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. Chapter 42:11. Look, that group of people should be from the Joyous Union Palace. Many of the passengers turned their gazes over. Then their eyes turned red. The people in front of him were really like fairies and witches. Two completely opposite temperaments were present in their bodies. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He knew that the Joyous Union Palace mainly cultivated illusions and soul attacks. It was too easy for them to use their souls to influence people. The surrounding people were discussing crazily. These fairies had come to participate as well. They were truly fortunate. He wondered if their most outstanding daughter of the heavens, Qin Xianer, had come. They were disappointed when they didn't see Qin Xianer. However, some people said, "What's the big deal? Don't you know?" Recently, the Joyous Union Palace had also risen to prominence, along with the other heavenly beauties. For example, Yusiki. It was said that she had great potential. Everyone started discussing again. Lin Xian was also surprised. He didn't see Qin Xianer, but he saw Yusiki. She had become stronger than before, and could enter the ranks of the top geniuses. This really surprised him. It seemed that her bloodline had really helped him a lot. However, he didn't care. No matter how strong she was still his subordinate. He only needed to use his soul. He would be able to make her submit completely. However, he was still worried about Qin Xianer. After all, he didn't know what happened in the Green Hill world. Did the Divine Empress attack Qin Xianer? At this moment, many powerful figures descended. They were from the Demon City. Many people exclaimed. As expected, many great demons came from the Demon City, and some of them even had very powerful bloodlines. After they arrived, they looked down on everything. Their aura made the surrounding people unable to breathe. That's nine-headed Qilin, right? He actually came out of seclusion. Someone exclaimed. They saw a handsome man. He stood with his hands behind his back like a god. At this moment, he saw that the people from the Joyous Union Palace had also walked over. He didn't know if Qin Xianer was here. Nine-headed Qilin's voice was unusually calm and full of confidence. The people from the Joyous Union Palace also looked over. So it's ninth young master. Our senior sister isn't here. One of them smiled and said, "Ninth young master, if you want to see our senior sister, you have to at least be on the pilgrimage roll." Indeed, Qin Xianer's status and strength were probably much stronger than those chief disciples. Oh really? Do you think I'm not qualified? Nine-headed Qilin snorted coldly. He was enraged, and his power erupted. A terrifying Qilin aura spread out in all directions. As soon as this aura appeared, many people's expressions changed. Peak of Minor Saint. Their faces were filled with shock. How long had it been? The other party had actually reached the peak of Minor Saint. It was unbelievable. What had the nine-headed Qilin experienced? He was actually able to advance by leaps and bounds. Indeed, when they returned from celestial fate, none of them were little saints. After such a long time, it was already very impressive that he had broken through to the Minor Saint realm. However, he didn't expect that he could reach the peak of Minor Saint. Moreover, this was not an ordinary peak Minor Saint. 9 Qilins, but they were unique beasts of heaven and earth. They possessed the bloodline of the Qilin tribe. How could they be considered top geniuses? Such a person would definitely be able to fight above his level. Nine-headed Qilin asked arrogantly when he saw the people around him discussing. "Ladies, do you think I'm strong enough to meet your senior sister now?" Indeed, he was very confident now. With his strength, he could definitely make it to the Saint board. The people of Joyous Union Palace were also pale. To be honest, the other party's strength was indeed very strong. It was not something they could fight against. Therefore they nodded and said, "Of course, but our senior sister Qin isn't here right now. I'm afraid ninth young lord will have to wait for some time." "Oh really? Alright, when senior sister Qin arrives, I'll let him know. Just tell him that I've admired him for a long time." Nine-headed Qilin turned and left with his people. Wherever he passed, no one dared to stop him. After he left, the people started to discuss again. Someone said, "I seem to have heard some news. It said that some time ago, a true expert of the Qilin tribe would come to Myriad Demon City. Do you think nine-headed Qilin's increase in strength has anything to do with the expert of the Qilin tribe?" Everyone was shocked when they heard it. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Nine-headed Qilin? He actually grew so fast. It seemed that not only him, but everyone had their own opportunities and could improve by leaps and bounds in a short period of time. However, Lin Xian didn't care about nine-headed Qilin. His current opponent was definitely a Saint Venerable. His opponent was just a peak minor saint. He didn't care about him anymore. However, at this moment, another exclamation came from afar. It turned out that nine-headed Qilin didn't go far with his people. He stopped again. This time, he was facing Wuxia. This scene caused many people to be shocked once again. Nine-headed Qilin's eyes were also shining brightly. They didn't expect that other than Fairy Qin, such a talented girl would appear in Joyous Union Palace. How should I address you? Wuxia smiled. Ninth young lord was too kind. He wanted to say something, but at this moment a cold shout came. Come here. The voice was like thunder. Everyone turned their heads. Wuxia was stunned. In the next moment, her pupils shrank as she looked into the distance. Then she took a deep breath and ignored nine-headed Kylin. She walked forward and soon came to the side of a man. Then she stood beside him respectfully. Oh my God, what's going on? Everyone was stunned. Wuxia was a talented girl who had just entered Joyous Union Palace. She could definitely enjoy supreme glory. But at this moment, she was so respectful to a stranger. How strong was this person? What was his identity? For a moment, everyone looked at the figure in front of them and started discussing. The one who spoke was naturally Lin Xian. He didn't expect nine-headed Kylin to be so reckless. So, he ordered Wuxia to come over. Wuxia naturally didn't dare to resist. She could only stand beside him. What's wrong? Are you surprised? Lin Xian looked at her. Yusiki shook her head. She had never believed that Lin Xian had been killed by the Sage King's single palm. Because his soul imprint hadn't been removed, she knew that Lin Xian wasn't dead. But she didn't expect him to appear here. And he even changed his face. Everyone was guessing Lin Xian's identity. Nine-headed Kylin's face darkened. There was a cold glint in his eyes. Who dared to fight with him? They didn't know what was good for them. He turned his head and looked. The people of Thousand Demon City beside him also roared. How bold! You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.